hopefully that fixes it.
Yeah, let us know if we're still nuns.
Yeah, let's
let's
get everyone saying some things.
Well.
Sounds good
okay,
now.
Cool. Sounds
okay,
good
all
now.
fixed.
Rad.
Okay,
Hooray.
So spiel again, blah blah blah, campaigns from long ago, etc., etc. There's a lot of stuff unstreamed, yada yada yada. Tonight we're going to be Aram's going to be hosting the show. This is the part where I turn the floor over to him. Thanks for joining us, Aram. Fucking kill it.
Welcome back to Order of the Dragon Queen. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Aram. From the Stabbiness channel, probably the only thing you'd recognize me from is Windrose, and also Mountain Blade, the Legend of Strumble Zing. But I'm in some surprise round things, and you may have encountered me in other contexts, like anime campaign or whatever. Well, that's a surprise round thing, but whatever. That was before we were surprise round. It's like grandfathered in. Why don't we go down the people in the call, and everyone just introduce yourselves so we know who's talking. So Will, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Will. You know me from Surprise Round. I run Ebon Ward, which is actually going to be playing this Sunday. And I'm in Windrose as Celine. And in Arimpaign, I play Hilda Felmadren, but we'll learn about that later.
Do not question.
Yeah, Jello.
Oh, sorry. We have a different order on my thing. I'm Jello. I did grandfather anime campaign. I play Velvet at Windrose, and I'm other things too. I'm Rook in Arimpaign. He's a bird, and he accidentally codified what every bird in Surprise Round sounds like.
Whoa!
I have a fun Rook story I can tell later on that particular subject.
Roma.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yes.
You're
I know you're not
think.
part of Arimpaign, but you're in the call.
Yeah.
Oh, it cut out for me, so I heard root, and I went, was that
Oh no!
root?
The exactly ambiguous syllable.
Yeah. All right. Hi, I'm Roma, and I draw fan art for Arimpaign sometimes. That's how I've related. Sometimes I see it with my eyes and draw boys.
Don't
Boys
roll
sing
that.
better.
Rude.
Hey! I drew Demetrius.
Yeah, that's true. She drew some group shots as well.
Next up is Rube.
Roopdoob, me. Hi, you guys at Stabbiness don't recognize me from anything yet. Ominous.
Me too.
But I'm on Surprise Round as a lot of things, and in relation to Arimpaign, I was made fun of it in it once.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, a long
We'll get to
time
that.
ago.
Okay.
Long time ago, Ruben Lamp used to spectate. But yeah, we will get into that. Civ.
So I only know exactly, 4 characters. But it's fine.
Fine. Hi, I'm Civ. I'm on a lot of Surprise Round stuff, and on Stabbiness, I help do Windrose. I play the NPCs in that.
Don't
What else
forget,
do we do?
you're the most important character in Arimpaign. You're the hungry carpet with teeth.
I am the hungry carpet with teeth, and I also
Yep.
do some of the icons
Yeah,
for
Civ has
Arimpaign.
drawn several very lovely icons for some of my NPCs.
And the PCs.
And the PCs, yes.
Oh, right, yeah, no, I did those.
I'll get there in time. I'm sure everyone already knows Jay, who's on this channel.
Oh
Weeb.
shit! What? Yeah. No. Hi.
Who's Jay?
And then finally, last but not least, Weeb. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Weeb. None of you know me from anything. I'm just Rib's friend. I'm just here to be here.
You're on Tiny Twitch, which had stuff. It's good.
Yeah, but you know.
Quick show.
So,
I'll shill for Weeb. Weeb is my body double and my best friend, and we run a campaign together that we'll talk about next time on Storytime. So this time we're just here to spectate and be
Yeah.
little gremlins.
And
so
we'll definitely
Sorry.
reserve 5 minutes at the end for you guys to drop your hot preview of next time to hook people
boy.
in.
The best part about Weeb introducing himself is that there's another person. It's like there's another person, and I looked, and Discord's doing that DM group chat error. Where
Yeah, I can't.
Sometimes one person doesn't exist.
Yeah, I can't
so
see
do
Jello
not see
either.
Weeb.
I can't see Jello.
There's
Star-crossed
a
lovers.
mysterious man.
Okay. Let us know if anyone's volume is inappropriate, but I haven't seen any messages to that effect so far, so I think it's fine.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. Let me see. General visual. You know what? Let's start by introducing the
Oh
players.
god, the cops are here!
The cops.
It's gonna be another short stream, guys. We gotta book
We're
it.
here for the time.
Okay, so, yeah, why don't we go ahead and start by looking at our brave player characters. So let me swap this over. Okay. So, yeah, I guess I want to introduce the PCs first, the players and the characters. So, the players in Arimpaign are Jello and Will, who are here, as well as Chula and Keen, who are not. Chula and Keen, again, I don't think have been in much, if anything, on Stabbiness, but have been in several things on Surprise Round. And there's kind of a little backstory to how this campaign started, which is that, and it's also the secret origin story for Surprise Round, kind of. Not the entire part of it, but a significant component of it.
Yeah.
Which is that in late 2012, early 2013, I and many of the other people here were doing amateur voice acting. Some of us still do, some more than others. And I, for my own part, had been doing that on like sites like Voice Acting Alliance for some time. And Jello was producing a fan dub of a webcomic called Cucumber Quest. And so he had an audition on Voice Acting Alliance that I auditioned for, as well as Will, Chula, Keen. I'm trying to think of any other people that would have any context for. Chris Gilstrap.
Chris, if
Yeah.
you've got
Chris-
you've got your eye on the sky.
Yeah, Chris, who played Agatha Fuckwhistle in episode 2 of Anime Campaign, was also among these people. And there were a bunch of others, most of whom we don't really hang out with anymore, but yeah, they were part of that dub. And it was definitely, for my part at least, the most wildly successful VA project I'd ever been a part of to that point. Certainly that launched from VAA. And I'm defining success here not in terms of views, although I think in absolute views it probably is the most successful thing I was ever in from VAA. It has far less views than most of the other things on your channel, Jello, but this was before Jello was YouTube famous, so it was pretty cool. And definitely the most successful in terms of like establishing a group of people that we actually like stuck around and hung out with. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, although I infer that it is. But for me, this has been my main internet group of friends pretty much for the last like 6 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that set of people that started as the group for the Cucumber Quest dub, gradually some people filtered out. Either they just did that project and moved on, they didn't choose to continue hanging out, or they were like flaky and ended up getting replaced in the project. But the core of that group,
Hey!
Hello.
Chula!
Do I sound okay? I'm on my
Yeah, you were a
phone
little
because
squeaky
I'm at
there,
work.
but your
Loud.
quality is okay.
Oh shoot. Okay. I can't really turn down my.
I mean, we can turn you down. It's
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We will make Chula quiet.
I'm
15%
sorry.
Chula, they call her.
Make me quiet.
Shh, 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 shh. Don't worry. Don't worry. The
So
chloroform will hit in.
So this kind of was the basis of Surprise Round. Not all of it. Several people joined in the next like 2 years following that. Civ, Lamp, and Rube both started hanging out with us and playing TTRPGs. And many more people following that. And then it kind of that
snowballed into surprise round.
So that circle of people, picked up more people like a snowball, but also that ring kind of got interlocked with other rings of people that already existed, like the what was at the time you would just call the Thrilling Intent set of people. So Jay, Faye, Matt, and Jackson to varying extents, as well as then like Piff and his set of friends, and so like. Now it's all a bit like mixed up with those various groups, but like that's basically how the set of humans that comprise most of the surprise round shows got together.
Love these humans. Good.
I like your use of the word humans specifically.
Humans in heavy quotation marks.
So that started in like early 2013. So flash forward to summer of 2014. And I personally was going through some more than slightly emotionally difficult times for reasons I won't get into, but I really wanted to like add more activities into my life to give me joy. And so I was like, hey, like a few people had offhandedly mentioned like they might be interested in playing D&D, so I asked around, and we ended up putting together a group for this campaign, which was I offered to GM, and the people who ended up playing. There's some weird beeping in the background.
I'm sorry, that's my car. I'm driving to go get food.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you for now if that's all right. Please message me when there are no longer car sounds. So this party was formed, and for me, Arimpaign was kind of a reaction to previous games that I had run throughout my life, things that I didn't think I had done well in them. I think this is pretty common for people making creative works, but like often in a later one, like once you've gotten used to seeing the flaws in something you've done before, often the next big thing you do is like a reaction against those and an attempt to correct them.
I feel you.
So, that's more meta stuff. So I've been talking exclusively so far. So why don't we introduce the PCs now that we know who the players were? And we'll go from kind of top left here. So, with some trepidation, I will unmute Chula in case she wants to talk about Annika. So I'm gonna bring up let me find her OG icon. I guess this was like the sketch, the first version that we had.
Saved?
Yeah, so this is Annika.
Chula just left.
Cool.
Why did Chula start a call with me?
Jesus, Chula.
I guess I gotta go.
Oh.
No, they left.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Jesus.
So
I come back. Chula's cursed. Cock's gun. Chula's cursed. He was in another call trying to share video with me. I think Chula's cursed.
Okay.
She probably sat on her phone.
We'll find out what's going on with her eventually. So Annika. Annika is an Undine cleric. This is a Pathfinder game, by the way. I decided to run Pathfinder because all the D&D that I had run up to this point was 3.5.
Oh god.
It's like I had tried 4th edition when it came out in like 08 or 09, whenever that was. And it wasn't really my cup of tea. It's too video gamey for me, and I didn't like I have a huge bias for liking spellcasters, and so I took it with some personal effrontery when 4th edition was like, what if wizards were like pretty much the same as the other classes instead of wildly different and with an entire half the book dedicated to only their content? And I was like, well, you could make the game like that, but why?
I seem to have been disconnected. I'm sorry.
Okay. You're back. Cool.
No, you tried to DM me. It's all right. We'll talk later.
So yeah, this I had heard that Pathfinder was like 3.5, but they fixed some more things, and so I wanted to give it a try. And by and large, I think that's pretty much an accurate description of it. So yeah, Pathfinder game. Annika is an Undine. Chula, do you want to like give the brief synopsis of Annika?
Okay, how much did you hear before I got disconnected?
Nothing.
None.
Nothing.
Oh my
You
gosh, so I got
disconnected before you
disconnected.
started. You called
Yeah.
Rube by accident and left.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I turned off my screen now, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore. I have been known to play either really cutesy characters or absolute assholes, and Annika is the prime example of both of those things.
She's a very cutesy asshole.
Oh yes, and I enjoy her a heck of a lot. And to this day, I still consider her to be one of my strongest characters. I think partially because after all of this time, I've had a lot more time to develop her than I have over one shots or campaigns that
Yeah.
haven't lasted very long. And she is one of my favorites for sure.
And since we're talking about like the origination of the campaign, how would you say your vision for Annika when you first came up with her was like different from what she ended up being, if at all?
Well, she was supposed to be chaotic neutral. And ended up more like maybe neutral evil.
Yeah.
At least you can admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm not denying that anymore. Another thing that she was originally supposed to be was pretty obsessed with money, which kind of
interesting.
showed. Yeah, she was kind of showed in like the first adventure, and then completely disappeared from her character traits. That was supposed to be an original motivation. Otherwise, a lot of her things that had been happening that I had planned for have pretty much stayed. Her wish to be free, the kind of freedom that she's always really wanted, and how she's going to try to attain that freedom. She's developed interests that I didn't really expect. Like, she's grown to really enjoy
Like
books.
she knows the sadomasochism spell now.
Specifically with her own race. So if she ever comes across an Undine, that's what that's for.
Womp womp.
It's pretty good. And she is slowly improving as a person.
I would say that's true, yes.
Yes.
Which I think I've enjoyed that I have actually had the time within the campaign for that to happen. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy the party dynamic that they all have. They're wonderful as friends, but they're terrible as romance partners.
Oh yeah. After we eventually perhaps we'll dedicate an entire sidebar to why every intra-party ship in Arimpaign is terrible.
It's
Except
so
maybe
bad.
except one. Maybe. But
See if you can pick out the one that's
The
a
one-
D minus
yeah,
instead of an F. That's not fair. I'd probably rank it a C minus, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give it a C
Yeah.
minus. That'd be a little generous, yeah.
Okay, moving along next, I guess we have Demetrius. Keen is the only player who is not here, unfortunately.
You can tell a lot by Demetrius just by looking at him.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with Demetrius.
Yeah, so
Demetrius'
I'm gonna mute for a
original
second while I
icon was
order my
Black
food.
Dynamite.
yeah, I'll just say when the players originally were like, "Hey, this is basically what I want my character to be." Demetrius is the one that worried me the most because I was like,
Yeah.
"Is this?"
So I might be misremembering, but I'm like 75% sure that in our initial call of like, are we maybe gonna play D&D together when we were trying to come up with characters, Keen was like, I don't know what I want to be, and I was like, why don't you play a fucking like blaxploitation movie wizard? And he was like, yeah, okay, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So this is Demetrius. This is Keen's human wizard. Who he was like, I kind of want to just play like Black Dynamite, but he's a wizard, and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Like 9 out of 10 players, I think if they pitch you that concept, like what I'm expecting is a character that is not gonna function in any kind of serious context. And I had never played with Keen before. Like, we'd done voice acting stuff together, and that was it so far. And wow, did he surprise me.
Yeah, I won't lie. When he first was like really sold on this concept, and I even was a couple times like, "You sure you want to do that? Like, there's something else you could do." And he was really gung ho about it. I was like, "All right." But now Demetrius is like one of the best characters I've ever seen at the table. He's so good.
I think on average, Demetrius is my favorite party member.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Keen has a very way of going from 0 to 100 with a joke, and it's really good.
Keen's specialty is being very quiet for a lot of the session, and just occasionally, like, sniping the funniest, most unexpected line of like, multiple sessions.
Of 2019.
Of 2019 from out of nowhere.
Sweet Yulia.
Sweet Yulia.
Sweet Yulia.
Probably the original was the party was introducing themselves to people in the very first adventure, and it was Rook, Annika, and Demetrius were there, and the dialogue was Rook said, "I'm a bird." Annika contributed, "I'm a fish," and then Keen just said, "Demetrius." Everyone fucking lost it.
Aw.
I didn't remember that actually being a thing that genuinely
No,
happened.
that happened. That was real.
Wow, that's amazing. That is just such an ingrained, like, stock phrase of our party that I thought we came out of it away from the table. I didn't know that actually happened.
That very much happened.
Yeah. So Demetrius has a one of those, like, very ominous, like, weirdly ominous backstories that you're sure is not going to lead to anything good, that is only just now kind of playing out in the campaign. But about half of it has existed almost from the beginning, and the other half was filled in a couple years ago. It's really exciting to see that kind of come together. He has a lot of weird shit going on in his backstory, and is this oddly stoic character in ways that lead to great humor.
But also a defining thing I remember is Rook and Demetrius jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
From one of my things. So.
Rook and Demetrius sleep in the same bed or within 2 feet of each other, I think, every single night.
Yeah. They're bros.
Yeah. One of the great bromances of our time. Okay, why don't we move on to Hilda then?
Yeah. So basically, when I saw the party dynamic of everyone is squishy, I decided to be Metal Mom. Hilda Felmadrin is a half-elf fighter, and in this universe, magic kind of went poof. Like, what is it, like 80 years ago?
About
Magic
that,
just
yeah.
kind of... Yeah.
70, yeah.
70, yeah. And so her father, Traben, became kind of obsessed with seeing if magic could live on through his children. So he just started having kids, and 2 of the kids turned out okay. Her older brother, Darius, has excellent skills with pyromancy, and the youngest daughter, Lilium, was a necromancer. Hilda has no magic whatsoever. And because of that, she drifted away from the family once she got a little older and got really into blacksmithing. Actually did some sailing for a while. She was a sellsword. And she is just one mean lady. Or she was for a very long time, just because...
The Hilda headbutt.
The Hilda headbutt. For a long time, my diplomacy tactics were just headbutting.
It's like, ask question, if don't get a satisfying response, repeat question more urgently and menacingly. If still no satisfying response, headbutt and move on.
Yeah, no. Hilda was... she was not great in the beginning. I'll be real. I'm not happy with the way I played her in the beginning.
Honestly, I don't think any of the characters were bad out of the gate. They've all gotten drastically better, as you would expect, with 4.5 years to discover them.
Yeah, so she is the muscle and defense of the party. To put in perspective, the AC difference, I think the second highest AC of the party is 16. Hilda is 23.
Yeah, it's quite disgusting.
Yeah, Hilda's entire purpose is to be the wall for the party.
We have art of the one time the wall went down.
Yeah, you'll see that in a bit.
Yes.
And this is her current icon that Civ did.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Oh, also, Aram, I just remembered this is one of the few campaigns where you have commissioned music for it if you wanted.
Oh
something
yeah,
in the
yeah,
background.
we'll get to those too.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'll put one of those on in the background, or I'll put something on anyway, so we have a little audio to accompany this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
Let's
see.
make it a party.
Um,
Like a D&D party. Rimshot.
You could always do.
we'll start with the first one I commissioned. Honestly, I'll probably have to turn it down. The fan burst is very loud.
Oh boy, is it that
It's
one?
that one.
Or is...
Oh, so yeah, so aside from everything else, I did actually commission some music from Plaster, another person who has not been on Stabbiness, but who you may recognize from Anime Campaign. She played Quentin in the second episode, and what was the name of her character in the fifth?
Regina.
Regina Sandbag in the fifth. And she is also a composer, as well as, among other things. So this is the first piece of music that that I commissioned from her for a character that we'll discuss momentarily. Right, so that's Hilda. Well, now that we've got this music going, we have to discuss Rook. So bring that
All right. So Rook is the character with no backstory.
You always need one.
Because the other, that was a conscious decision. So I did not know Tengu existed until I was looking at a list and I was like, why the fuck would you not play a Tengu? So Rook is a crow Tengu who used to work in the in-universe Team Rocket, which is called Hollingstar, and he was born on an island with bird people and was recruited because he was tall. And then he did some odd jobs and then realized he didn't like it because Rook's entire gimmick is that he is like a writer and he's like addicted to tropes and he really likes seeing adventurous things play out in real time in front of him. And like canonically, the in-universe reason the Tengu leave their homeland is to like become famous and have stories written about them, basically. So I'm running with that. And the only other thing, half of what I just told you wasn't even there at the start. That was made up mid-sessions, but one of the only things I gave Aram when we started was, I would like a shitty Gary Oak rival character. And Aram went all the fuck in on that.
So this is the music we're hearing right now is that character's leitmotif. We decided collectively, Jello and I, like, yeah, let's double down on stupid chess metaphors and name Rook's rival Bishop. And I think I kind of caught Jello off guard because he was like, that'll be a fun person to encounter once 20 sessions into the campaign. And then instead he showed up almost immediately.
I think he showed up as the cliffhanger of our very
first session,
ever.
yeah.
Yeah, his first line of dialogue, do you remember what it was?
I think it was, "What's up, bird
What's
shit?"
up, bird shit?
Wow.
And also, if you've seen Anime Campaign,
Find a
obviously
picture
all
of
of
that
these all of these characters exist
Bishop.
in a version of Anime Campaign. Rook's regular voice is actually more like this. Like, he sounds a little bit sensible. The Anime Campaign one is like, oh, because what happened is, I don't know who started this, because it wasn't me, but
It was
also
Lamp,
before
I
the
think.
surprise round, Lamp used to run a lot of, essentially fantasy campaigns, but, like a bunch of UR games, mostly with, like, Will, Civ, Rube, and some of their friends. And someone in there mentioned that Rook existed. So everyone in there, the first time I got in a call with these people I'd never met, had Rook impressions. A character none of them had ever met. And he sounded like this now! So, Anime Campaign Rook was me finally getting to do a mock impression of my character. Yeah, the green beetles.
Green Beetle! Wow! My favorite!
Also, I don't know if this is getting ahead of anything, but to characterize what a terrible greaseman Bishop is, I think his defining moment is a girl trying to assassinate him because he killed her triplet, I think, sister. And that plot resolved itself mostly off screen, except for the climax, which was them naked, and the girl tried to assassinate them while they were having sex, and Bishop rode her down a staircase and broke her neck and walked away naked and left.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah,
And
he's
don't
a
forget
piece-
that. Don't forget that Hilda was like, "You piece of shit," and spit at him, and he ate it.
What the
I think he said
This is
something. I
horrible.
think he said something like, "I love the sea breeze in my face."
Slightly
horrible.
adjacent. Can we talk about the sitting in the bottle part?
Yo, oh, don't worry.
We'll get there.
There is
We'll get
no
there.
chance we will skip that. The
You are
Birdman
jumping
is
ahead.
wearing pants. Donald Duck doesn't wear pants. They all freeball, man.
So the interesting thing about Rook is that violin is also a crossbow.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit!
No,
really?
the other one's cursed.
Oh, I didn't talk about Rook's mechanic in battle.
Oh, yeah,
Rook's
yeah.
a bard, by the way. He used to be a bard rogue, but then I realized you can't fucking dual
And
class either of
multi-classing
those
sucks,
things.
unfortunately,
And
if
yeah,
you're a
it just
spellcaster.
ganks both of them. So I went full into bard because it worked. And Rook on his head wears a visor of disguiser, which is his magical item that allows him to transform into it's supposed to only let you change a little bit, but Aram lets me bullshit it. So Rook has a cavalcade of terrible disguises, which all rhyme with his name, or I rhyme with it. I'm sure we'll see some art for them. I'm afraid some of them have been lost to the
Now, I will
Yeah.
bring this up. You know, if anybody from Surprise Round is here who's watched Blades in the Dark, Hosuk was originally a Rook disguise that Lamp fan made for UR
Yeah,
campaign.
that one.
What?
That's
I didn't even know that.
What the
Yeah.
No, Lamp ran Unforgotten Realms campaign where we were helped by a sniper named Hosuk the entire time, and at the very end, there was the slap in the face of "I was Rook the whole time."
Which I would have been way down for, except I had, I think, the worst luck I've ever had at the table.
Yeah.
Bar fucking none that game. So I was in a very bad mood.
That is funny.
Anyway, Aram, I just remembered a place where I can send you quite a few. I found some of the old disguises.
Ooh,
I will
excellent.
send them in this thing.
Yeah,
so,
send me my way.
Yeah, here's Nook. I think this was.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
The
Wow.
character who
Whoa.
I don't remember your exact voice for him. All his immortal line that like captures his personality is some guard was like asking him something, and he kind of got out of that situation by saying something kind of insane and following it up with "Hoobity doobity."
Yeah. I do remember this disguise as voiced.
Oh God, did you find Oh!
Oh, that's Luke.
This comes at you in a dark alleyway. What the fuck you do?
This is an earthbound
Well, if you're
enemy.
Rook's girlfriend, you pull out pepper spray and almost attack him.
Hilda hates Look.
Hilda hates every one of Rook's disguises up until Hook, I think. Yeah. This guy's voice was based on the refrigerator guy from the G.I. Joe PSA parodies. And there is one more. I don't know if we're going to go by adventure. I'm going to save the creme de la creme disguise until the end. if that's
Excellent,
okay.
excellent. That's quite all right. Yes.
Now, there's also a fun gimmick with each of these. Aren't they also like bird themed?
Oh yeah, they're all bird themed. So the horrible nose man, this is like a 5-year-old drawing. He's owl themed, or one of them's owl themed. I don't remember.
Is it Duke is Flamingo? I think, isn't he?
Duke is flamingo. The first guy I posted with the big nose is supposed to be a patoo.
Oh,
Those, like,
yeah.
lizard birds.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
And then Look is an owl. Anyway, I've talked about Rook for a long time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. So the it's kind of the lead up to this game. I ran some Dungeons and Dragons games in college And I had run it before in high school as well, but all the games I ran in high school were kind of excuses to hang out with my friends and have fun first, and actually designed as a functional D&D game second. So my first attempt to like do D&D remotely correctly was in college. And I played some with people at my college and some with people online. And so some of the choices I made in Arimpaign were all reactions against what I perceived as the failings of those games. So in one of those games, in the college games, I kind of figured out my setting and roughly the plot and what was important before any of the PCs were created. And so naturally, like, one or two of the PCs integrated into the story well, and the rest didn't really have any way of doing that. They didn't, like, care that much, because none of them were, like, super RP-heavy players, but it felt kind of, like, unfair. That it was like, oh, well, I can't do anything with your backstory, because it doesn't... I can't find any way to make it important if this is what the plot is.
Right.
And then I did an online game, a very, very short-lived, almost stillborn Eberron campaign, where trying to do better, I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Eberron's an already written setting. There's this big setting book. It has all this cool shit in it. Like, take a look at this and come up with your characters, like, already fit into this. And that way, like, they'll be guaranteed to have good hooks into the setting. And that was maybe a okay idea in principle. Probably not the best pick for the players that I had, but also I really went way overboard on upfront work. Like I had like questionnaires to fill out and shit. I basically gave my players homework to do before we had played a single session. And this is a bad idea for two reasons. First, because players' investment level is the lowest when they haven't played yet. So that's a bad time to demand extra work. Second, it delayed the game by literal months. So bad idea. And lastly, even if those hadn't been issues, it's kind of a futile exercise, because something that I've found as I've played more games is that when you come up with a character, no matter how much prep you put into them beforehand in terms of like what their personality is going to be, what is important about their backstory, how they work in the party dynamic, that's really hard to write down and figure out on paper just looking at the characters ahead of time.
Because they're going to change, too, is the big
once
thing.
you get actually in the game, things change radically, especially when you see, oh, another player character's acting like this, I can't act like this.
I don't want to steal their thing.
I don't want to steal their thing, or that will go completely against it. It's
Yep.
a lot of the reason why lawful good is such a...
It can be, it can be difficult.
It's such a difficult type to work with, because if there's a single chaotic person in the party, you've got to really work hard to make it work.
Non-Arimpaign example of that, that's also not a spoiler, in Valor Academy. Jay and I are both, Jay and I are both players, but actually the relevant one is Nico and I are both players in that. And our characters, my characters, Tuhela, was going to be heavily, like, a lot of her stuff was going to be focused around anger issues. And some of that is still there, but I have heavily tried to consciously move away from that as a character direction, because it is too close to what Nico's character is doing, and it is more central to Nico's character. And so it doesn't make sense to have two people dealing with that issue in the party. So stuff like that comes up. Characters develop, but even outside of development, just playing them once or twice, you'll find they turn out to be different people than you thought they were. So, big mistake I made. Demanded a bunch of work of my players up front. Almost nothing came of it, and it actually made the game worse, like, substantially. So, I tried to find a happy middle for Arimpaign, which is I came up with kind of the 50-word elevator pitch for what the setting was going to be, which is an old, like, the old order of society. It was heavily based around a few very prominent, very powerful families that hoarded, like, as part of their family secrets, lots of secrets of really powerful magic. And that this was kind of society all stemmed from the influence of these families. And at a certain point, There was a big like World War I scale conflict between them. Lots of shit got broke, and then suddenly magic just disappeared. Everyone who could do magic suddenly couldn't do magic anymore, and enchantments that had already been cast started failing over time. And so it's like the world suddenly got shunted back to the Dark Ages, and society basically collapsed because like all of these social structures that had built up around this fell apart. That was way more than 50 words, but you know me. I never use 50 words when 500 will do. But that's basically all I came up. I was like, that's my basic idea for what the thrust of this setting is. And that's all I gave the players. And I said, just come up with characters that might have an interesting thing, like relation to that setting, or can function within it. And then whatever, you can make up whatever details you want in your backstory. You can declare that certain people exist, that families existed, organizations, anything related to your character's backstory. You can just like wave a wand and it's true. And then I will go back and fill in the rest of the setting around that and try to kind of come up with an interesting plot that uses all these characters very centrally in a natural way. I'll hand off to the players in a second to ask how they think that has gone. I personally think it's my most successful way of generating a campaign that I have used, and will probably continue to use it.
I liked it a lot. I
gotta run pretty soon. Is it okay if I go first?
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah, sorry, my break's almost up. So I kind of made the mistake of, I think, not including enough about what was going on in Annika's story. There was a lack of motivation that she had for continuing and doing what she was, that I had to add. And I know that we had to work a lot, I think, on what was going on with her in particular. Like adding to how her society worked. If I remember right, we added
a couple passes. Yeah, I ended up doing the same thing with Keen.
Yeah, we added a couple of characters. We added some motivations behind what her society was doing and why things were going the way it was.
We added more evil school marm, as Jello calls her.
Oh man, we had to add why the school was even happening. I kind of messed up, but it ended up working really well in the long run because of those sessions. I learned a lot more about how to create characters as well. So it ended up being an improvement for me, and I really enjoy how it's all been incorporated. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to some conflicts between particular characters that hopefully come up in the future.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be so much fun. And I have to leave now.
Okay.
Catch you guys.
Yep.
Bye, Chula.
Thanks for stopping in.
Bye.
Yeah. I definitely like the way this has been done, and I kind of wish I'd done it with Eben Ward more so. I think it's really nice to just have...
Nash's backstory isn't fully integrated into the plot.
Believe me, I've tried to figure out a way.
I don't know. I don't blame you at
Eben
all.
Ward, though, you had a different problem, which is that
Ward,
you never designed it to
start
be
off
a
as like a
long-runner
one
anyway.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that if I were to run another campaign after Eben Ward, I am absolutely going to do elevator pitch like you did, and then be like, all right, now I'm going to let the players come up with like certain details to expand on, and then hopefully they'll do what I did with you and I've done with Jay, because I think it works a lot better, is I write up like 2 or 3 pages, and then I'm like, go. I don't care what the fuck you do with it. I trust you entirely. Because I think it's so much more interesting if I don't know what's going to happen. And you proved that to me multiple times that was worth it, especially like in Adventure 3. Like, just even the opening narration of just like, oh, yes, and you're going back to your hometown. But Hilda wasn't expecting what was there. What does that mean? Something is wrong in the Felmadrin estate. fuck does that mean?
Dun, 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 dun. I don't even remember doing that. That's really funny.
Yeah, and you're like, anyways, as you can see, and like you started going on this interesting lore about Radiant Point. Like, yeah, that's nice. What's going on?
Yeah. Hang on. Back the fuck up for a second.
What you do? Yeah, no, I think this was a great success. There also wasn't any pressure to, especially because we were all new.
Yeah.
Which was really nice, of just like, hey, here's kind of the dealio. When you get time, write up some notes. And I sent you some backstory stuff almost immediately, and I really shouldn't have made it public to the rest of the players. But I was hoping if I did that, it would get them more interested in like writing their backstories.
I think that was a good call under the circumstances. Yeah, it puts you in a weird position of the players have all known almost all of Hilda's backstory longer than the characters have, like much longer. But since then, Will has sent me additional things, usually privately. So there are still some curveballs that could come out.
Yeah. It only took 5 years for them to go, why is your hair long? Or why are your hands horribly burned? And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Speaking of Hilda's backstory, I'm going to put on another piece of music. This is the second one that I commissioned from Plaster. This is a theme that has only played once in the entire game. The main thing that's going on for Hilda is that her sister was kidnapped by vampires. And I commissioned a theme for her sister back when I thought that maybe the campaign was going to move a lot faster than it ended up moving. So yeah, I'll go ahead and play that.
Oh man, hearing that, I was just like, yeah, no, I figured the campaign would go a lot faster. When you presented the song of Sister Is, Sister Was, I was like, well, she's dead. And the other thing is to think of, like, you got this song in what, 20...
This might have been back in 2014. At 2015 at the absolute latest.
And we sure didn't encounter that track to play until...
It was 2016. You know,
really?
Recently.
I thought it was... Yeah, I guess...
Serum.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was really funny because that track started playing. I was like, oh, hey, it's Lilium's theme. Wait a minute. Where is she?
Where is my girl?
I don't remember the exact reaction I had to the song, but I think the presentation order was something along the lines of, I've got a song for you guys. Guess whose theme this is? And we guessed a few things, and Will's like, oh, this is Lilium. This is Hilda's sister. And I went, oh, and we all went, this is so pretty. Beat.
She's
Sorry,
dead.
Will. She's dead.
Yeah, no. Oh, she's uber dead. Maybe.
She might be a vampire.
She's probably a vampire, which is not good.
What?
Contrary to popular belief.
What?
Yeah, so the other big thing I tried to do different in this campaign than I had ever done before, and it's kind of weird to look at this as like a thing I intentionally tried to change, because I feel like this is like kind of the MO for how most of the games we've streamed have run, so it's not gonna sound like it's novel, but I tried to structure it broken up into relatively distinct... Oop, that's not... Yeah, okay, hang on. Into relatively distinct adventures that kind of were plotted together like episodes of a TV show, where like, okay, yeah, like there's a clear beginning, rising action, climax, and like denouement for each of these adventures, and not...
I mean, that's just storytelling, babes.
Yes, but every game that I had played in or run before was much more continuous action, in the sense that, you know, everything bled into everything else. You could probably stand far back and say like, okay, this was probably an adventure, or this was like an arc, but it wasn't like, here's opening narration and, you know, we've radically changed scene or tone or whatever. It was like, you wake up in the inn, what do you guys want to do? And like, oh, you might go here and you might find a secret dungeon, and, you know, oh, maybe you level up halfway through the dungeon and then you finish that dungeon, and then in the rest of the session you go shopping. Like, just shit, just like thing happens after thing, and the action never cuts away. Which, as far as I'm aware, is still usually the more common way to play D&D if you're not playing like, exclusively one-shots. So the idea of, like, we're going to get to the end of an adventure and then pretty much just jump cut to the next one was actually a pretty big mental leap for me, and one that it kind of took me a while to figure out how to do correctly. I like it. I think it's worked well for this campaign.
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'll use it like for every campaign I ever run, because it implies that I have a very large degree of control over the plot, which has been fine for this game. I do have a planned next thing I want to do in the works, where I want the players to have a lot more agency in deciding the direction of the narrative, because I've always been very impressed at how much control Jay gives the players in Thrilling Intent of
Double finger guns.
of totally changing what the story's gonna be.
Me looking at the fact that my favorite NPC in First Century was a corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that did
God.
happen.
So
It's good shit.
So yeah, this game was plotted in adventures, very distinct ones, with sometimes like an RP session or a downtime session here or there, but like basically you get to the end of an adventure and it's like, okay, we're done with this. We're gonna go straight into like the next interesting thing. My goal was like every one of these adventures should be a nice, cool story that could be like the big story from any other campaign. We're just gonna try to cut out all of the filler crap that normally goes in between them. So that was my other goal, and so that's how it's structured. I think if you guys would like to, anyone who wants to follow on in real time should hop in because we're gonna go through maps. Slowly, I'm not gonna exhaustively recap the whole story of the campaign because it's very long.
Aram,
yes?
Before you show any maps in chronological-ish order, I think you should show one of the most recent maps and then go back to the very first maps.
Okay.
Just for a fun little hey guys.
Okay.
This is where we are now.
We started this campaign before I single-handedly invented using Roll20.
Using Roll20, yeah, no, it's true. Let me find a map from Adventure 9, let's say. How about, let's see, what looks really nice? Actually, no, you know
what? Oh my god, Weeb, when we get to First Century, we'll be able to show off all our really cool maps.
Actually, no, I know what map I'm going to show. I'm going to show a dungeon map from Adventure 8, if I can find, Volcano Floor 3, I think. Okay, so here is an example of a map from the second most recent adventure of this campaign. Let me zoom out because it's fairly big. Or it won't zoom out. Zoom out. Thank you. So here's an example of a recent map. This is.
Remember, you gotta drag those players.
Oh, holy shit!
Oh yeah. Oh god, I got so many maps out.
So how did you do that thing where it's not square, where it's not like that?
Carefully.
Yeah, this is a really, really difficult visual effect to do in Roll20. Not difficult at all in Map Tool or Dungeon Painter, actually.
But in Roll20, you gotta work for it.
In Roll20, holy fuck, this took so long.
It looks so good, though.
These are like faded edge things that I stacked up alongside square rock tiles and then overlaid with black and then entirely square lava tiles that I cut up and jigsawed and faded out in weird ways so they wouldn't look obviously square. And
it's a really good job.
Dealing with the layers was a goddamn nightmare, but yeah, so that's like an example of a dungeon map from a recent one. And let me try to pick like a good town-ish map. Let's say, let's just, oh, not that one. let's just take like the marketplace from the current adventure. Where did that go? Where did you go, my marketplace? Marketplace, come back.
There's Hook.
Oh, there she is.
Oh yeah.
No, seriously, where the fuck is it? Oh, here it is.
That's another Rook disguise. That's the only girl one. Oh no, it's not. That's the only girl one worth mentioning.
Yeah, so here's an example of a like civilization.
Look at this
map
little
from the
town.
current
Oh my
one.
god.
It's
Look at
really
this
nice.
little town.
Aram
There he
doesn't.
is.
Yeah, Aram. Yeah, but we're not there yet.
Okay, I will be patient.
In case you're wondering what Romo was reacting to.
It's
Egg boy.
this guy.
Hang on. Fuck, it never zooms in on the first time. Zoom in!
It's
It's
Hey,
this
why do you-
motherfucker right here.
this guy.
Why do you zoom in not using the slider or the alt key, Aram?
Oh, yeah, shut up.
This is the middleman that we're all interested in. But what
Oh,
about,
he's just dead.
Yeah, he's
what
dead.
about Bregman?
Oh yeah, witch pisser.
Yeah. What
Oh
about
yeah, and here's Jay's original character, Jace Witch Pisser Breadman.
That's the one.
A man died. Yeah, so that's like roughly the map, the scale of the maps as they exist today. Oh geez, there's so much lag on this zoom. Okay, so
It's very painterly, this one.
Yeah,
you get
this
like
is
a
a,
custom asset pack.
yeah, this is a these are from, I believe, Brass Badger Workshop. They have a whole bunch of these slightly cartoony looking ones. So that's where we are nowadays in 2018, 2019. So now follow me, if you will, on a journey through time.
Into the past.
Into the past.
The
to-
Twilight Zone.
To the very first map that ever appeared in Arimpaign.
I'm so excited.
Get ready, kids.
I can't
Give
wait
it to
see
me.
Oh boy.
both
Let me in.
Here it
Let me
comes.
in, yeah.
That is so much more detailed than I remember it being.
Yeah.
The first map oh right, and we just used Grimsley because I was just like whatever, I don't want to.
And I was just Titania. Oh my
Yep,
god,
Hilda's just
this is
Titania. Demetrius is just Black Dynamite.
So in my mind, the ultimate example of early Arimpaign map is the clock tower, which, if I am remembering correctly, is 3 rectangles.
It's not much more than that. Yeah, so the party, this is the party on, why did the wagon duplicate? All right, whatever. This is the party, oh, that's a different wagon, all right. This is the party on their way to a shitty little hick town called Edric's Fountain, which became kind of a meme in the campaign of everyone in universe shitting on it all the time as being like the worst town.
It was this universe's like Detroit.
Yeah. No, actually, Broadbridge is this universe's Detroit. It's just charming. Edric's Fountain
Yeah.
is like this universe's,
Alabama.
yeah, like, I don't know, some kind of important but shitty southern town.
Edric's Fountain is the equivalent of like getting that fucker in your 5th grade class in a group project that nobody likes working with, but like they somehow always end up paired with you in your group.
Yeah,
That's what
here's
Yeah.
here's the clock tower. The
Oh my
the
god.
room you guys never visited is off in Fog of War, but it
Yeah,
contains
I
can see
spiders.
That's right. There were spiders and oh my god.
I don't
This
know
is
what
such
these guys are on the GM layer. I don't know what the fuck they're doing here. I don't remember.
Being secret shadow.
Yeah, like I clearly
Well-
used the same art asset later on for the cultists and Mistress of Twistress, but
Oh, you don't remember those guys? I actually think.
oh no, these were like the guys who. Oh, that's right. This was okay. This is like if you want an example of my like humor and setting style, this is like the first one that ever happened, which is so in this town there's like a local urban legend that if 100 black birds ever gather at the clock tower, then it's an omen of the town's coming ruin. And part of the first adventure is that the party showed up to this town, and Hollingstar, which are basically like the Team Rocket of this universe, had gathered like 100 black birds in cages, smuggled them into the clock tower, and released them to cause a panic so that they could steal something in the chaos. So that happens. The town gets super pissed off at Rook because he is a black bird man, and they're all racist towards him. But they go back to the clock tower later, and these fuckers are here. And these are literally what these guys are countercultural rebel youths who've decided that because their parents hate black birds, they like them.
Yeah, no, I remember they walked up and they were like, "Wow, you're a black bird man. That's so cool, dude." And I was just like, "What the fuck?" Okay.
Hail and well met, my good bitch.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's like the humor style of Arimpaign in a nutshell, really.
This clock tower also reminds me that this was the very beginning when no one let me go first. And no one learned for an entire adventure.
Yeah, Demetrius sure barged through this door and got bolted with acid for like most of his health.
Excuse you, Will. Not one time has Rook charged through a door before Hilda.
I said most of the party.
So the dungeon of this adventure, the early adventures had a much more standard formula, not really intentionally, but this is how it ended up, of arrive at town. Town has a problem. Problem can be solved by going to a dungeon. Go to dungeon.
That works.
This was the dungeon of the first adventure.
Yeah, boy!
So Hollingstar stole this artifact and sold it off to this local Knoll tribe. And so the party went to this old abandoned fort from the war to go and get it back. So you'll notice, like, all these maps that I'm showing are all, like, lines, sometimes colored, usually not. This is because this was our first time using Roll20, any of us. Certainly my first time. And I was coming from, you know, like, there was a lot less of streams of this kind of D&D at the time, and so I had never seen someone using like images in Roll20. I guess I kind of knew that it was a thing you could do, but constructing scenery out of it just never even occurred to me because I was coming from the in-person D&D mentality of the only things you can have on a map are basically things you can draw in like less than 10 seconds with a black felt like erasable marker because you can't show the map to your players until they enter, you know, the next room. So generally you leave it undrawn until they do. And so all these maps are in that style. They're like pretty much how I would have drawn them on a an erasable grid paper. And I never really got out of that mindset until it was indeed Jello who opened my eyes with Spook Campaign. But we'll get there in a little bit. So this is this fort. Party came up this cliffside, came in here, fought some gnolls, had a funny moment of Annika bursting through a door first and getting almost mauled to death by hyenas.
Yeah, Aram.
Yeah.
There is one moment that is one of my favorite I don't know how to play tabletops moments, which occurred, I think, right about here.
Yep.
In front of the opening.
Right about here.
We were like at level 3, and I was like, Bard is, I don't get it. Magic is hard. And we're walking around, and we're fighting a bunch of gnolls, and I use Cord of Shards for maybe the 5th time this adventure. And you go,
oh my god.
How many more times? Like, wow, you've been using that a lot. How many times can you use Cord of Shards a day? What do you mean, how many?
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so funny.
Oops, we've been doing something fundamental wrong. Rules rise kind of things continued for a long time.
What do you mean for a long time?
Yeah.
One literally happened this Tuesday. Annika again did not know. You and Chula were like, "Oh, this is a thing clerics can do." Guess we've been fucking up for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah. But it was definitely, there
Pathfinder.
was a lot more of
Did
it early
Chula
on.
not know she got domain spells until like
She only started
pretty
using domain
recently?
spells about halfway through the campaign.
And Demetrius forgot he had an item that could let him teleport 15 feet that he requested.
Yep.
I
Oh, that's a
made
cool.
Rook way
I've never
too
seen you use that
powerful.
item before. When did you pick that up? Oh, I've always had it.
What? I had accidentally buffed Rook and cheated for a long time by giving him a bard spell that functioned like, I think the way I thought it functioned, you get it like level 8 or something.
Oh, I don't remember that.
The +2 of attack and damage one.
Oh,
That
competence.
was not how powerful it was for a long time.
Yeah. Oops.
It happens.
Yeah. And yeah, so like around here on this door here, we were being very cautious because we didn't want to alert Knowles. And Annika did a perception check and she's like, I hear breathing. I bet they're sleeping. And I'm like, don't fucking open that. And so she throws the door open and there's like a Knoll and 2 hyenas. And they maul the shit out of her, so I have to play Metal Mom, grab Annika, and just throw her as far
Throw
behind
her
me as
across the
possible.
room.
And then play 300 as I block this doorway, but luckily my AC is fucking bananas, so I can't get hit. But meanwhile, Rook and Demetrius like shooting with crossbows around me, trying to hit these fucking dogs.
If you've seen Horde of the Dragon Queen, just substitute that one fight in the Y of
The
death.
evil Y.
Except Stamp becomes Hilda, and the people shooting fucking pot shots over their head is the same. Yeah. Chula's fun to play with, but her strategy is kind of like moon logic sometimes.
Sure.
Good example. I fucking love okay, you hear breathing on the other side of the door. They must be sleeping. Okay. I mean,
You know, that's when you breathe.
God.
The boss of this place I was pretty proud of. So the party gets through this portcullis. There are some gnolls in here. The Gnoll King is down here in his throne. And
Look at those highly made rugs.
yeah, look at these rugs that I made.
those are honestly better than 80% of the rugs you can find in Roll20.
That's completely
Yeah.
true.
And
you're right.
they get into the room. Probably my favorite quote from this adventure that's out of character is Will going, "Is that a cannon?" And me replying, "Hey, don't worry about it."
There's also
The
Oh, go for it.
barrels of explosives from
Yeah.
the floor below, which we called boom crack. And there's a long story about that, but the short one is we took one of the barrels up and like rolled it in through a wall and detonated it. And still maybe to this day, my favorite Aram description and deadpan delivery for anything in Arimpaign of, all right, you roll the barrel up to the knoll and you spark on it. This knoll is fucking incinerated. He's just fucking annihilated.
I think it was he fucking disintegrates.
Oh boy.
Oh my god. Yeah, this was really well. The fun part was we had run in and we saw the cannon and this gate dropped and we're like, we don't want to be here anymore. So it was a mad dash.
Yeah,
back
it was
to
funny.
this
You guys
gate.
were like, "Uh-oh, this is clearly supposed to be a forced boss fight. Hey, if I make enough of a strength check, can I push this gate back up and then we just leave?" And I was like, I guess. And they made a good strength check and just left. And I was like, fair enough. So they came back out.
You got out, yeah.
They came back out prepared, then came back in and proceeded to again not engage with the Gnoll King's speech where he's explaining the plot. Yeah, so they
Aram,
killed
I'm
him.
sorry.
Poor King Flintclaw, the most important character taken before his time.
So,
Aram, I know your pain.
Every GM knows that pain, I think.
yeah. Oh my god, that was fantastic. That might be the only time I think Rook was ever like, I'm not gonna let you be a character to like man, fuck this guy.
Oh man, I tried everything to get that cannon. I wanted it so bad. but there was no way we could bring it with us.
You got a barrel of explosives, so it worked out okay.
Here, let's play a game with chat. Let's not give away the answer. It's called How long do you think the party kept this actual barrel-sized barrel of explosive cocaine before using it? So
yeah, I answer in either or both of like number of sessions, number of adventures, or like real world time. All are valid metrics. Guess whichever
and just
you like.
for an end date, we are currently on adventure 9, and we are 5 years in. So guess how we have used it too. This is not a trick
it's
question.
not a trick question. Yeah.
We attempted to use it and we failed.
Yeah, they
but
failed.
Then
There was a false start and then a success.
Oh,
So-
I was heartbroken.
So the resolution here was they got half of the artifact. It had been split up by the time they got here. So they got the half that was given to the gnolls by this guy, the guy who stole it. They brought that half back to the town, not realizing it was only half. And so first of all, the mayor was kind of pissed that they only got half of it back.
Even though none of this was our fucking
even though none of this was the party's fault and they had done them a favor. Also, then some more. Okay, so the name of this campaign, other than Arimpaign, is Shadow Spreads Its Wings. And the first like, hey, it's the main plot thing happened at this time, which was a bunch of freaky shit happened. And a character called the Raven Man showed up. I'm gonna show this guy. He didn't have this icon at the time, but this is art that Civ eventually did. This is what he looks like. He's a super gnarly fucking guy, who looks creepy as fuck. And he showed up and said a bunch of ominous shit and threatened to take the half of the artifact that the party had just gone through all that trouble to recover. So the party decided to jump into a fight with him that was a unwinnable boss fight, but convinced him to not actually take it. So he just said some more ominous shit and then teleported away. But the extra round of evil bird-related stuff got the town riled up again, and so the mayor was like, hey, I'm gonna arrest you guys, not because I think you did anything wrong, but because I think you'll get lynched otherwise. So I'm gonna put you in jail while I figure out what to do with you. This was the start of why everyone fucking hates Edric's Fountain, by the way.
And
Man, fuck this town.
We didn't mention her, but the one who busted us out and helped us out of sneak out jail prison was Sophia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other characters met during this adventure. This grifter, this grifter teenage girl who pretends to have magic, because of course, like, almost no one does now in this setting. It's very easy to bamboozle people with like parlor tricks and stuff. And so this is just a straight up con artist girl, and Rook's on again, off again girlfriend / flirt partner.
Yeah.
The eye on the forehead reminds me a lot of the Eye of Neverwinter.
I stole the design exactly from that.
Nice.
It was in the art references I gave to Civ. In fact, I think I have them. Let's look at it right now. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Oh, that's got spoilers in it.
My favorite part of Sophia, besides that I love her, is that. So you introduced her as like a grifter, and I was picturing her as like a 30-year-old brunette Lemmy-War from Ace Attorney. And then later you're like, no, she's a little younger, and she's got like strawberry blonde hair, and she's a grifter. I'm like, Aram, you gotta stop that shit. You did a little too well at making me a love interest character. You know how much I like blondes. This is one of my favorite Civ drawings still.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite Civ icon that she's done for Arimpaign. Another character who showed up around this time is Vivian Canmore, who is a traveling, mostly not traveling actually, spice merchant and fabulously successful and wealthy. Who had kind of taken an interest in the party after Hilda participated in this little tournament at the town and totally dumpstered her one opponent.
You almost killed that guy.
I sure rolled a nat 20 on the first swing and just almost killed him, man.
Total aside, I feel like if you're like, I don't want to hurt him that bad, and you get a nat 20, it always makes me really angry when the response is, oh, you almost kill him, you do so well. 20 should be good. 20 should be you do it perfectly. You perfectly not kill them. But that's my own opinion. That's just a theory. Moving along.
Man, we haven't seen Vivian Canmore up close in a while. I forgot how fucking cute she is.
I remember the description of, I finally got Civ to commission Civ for Vivian, who's been around for like 3 years before we met Civ. And I remember you guys describing it as, oh, she's so cute midway through drawing her. And then Civ adds glasses. Shit, she's sexy.
Oh no, she's hot. Yeah, she's cool. She's actually one of my favorite NPCs, in spite of being like totally mundane and like not one of the high comedy NPCs either.
I like her a lot. She's great.
Yeah,
I liked her because when we first met her, we were like, I don't know if we could trust her. Like, for no real reason other than she was nice, but that was enough.
Not 100% wrong.
Yeah,
indie parties be like, I can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was never a bad guy or working against you, but she hid a lot of stuff from you initially. So she basically shows up. Actually, first, this bitch shows up. She shows up with her two minions, each played by David Hasselhoff, that I'll get to later. Each played visually by David Hasselhoff, auditorily by Patrick Warburton. She shows up. This is a Annika backstory character who basically has been seeking her to bring her back to her home, which she was not supposed to leave.
I didn't know you had the star power to attract both David Hasselhoff to provide his likeness and Patrick Warburton to provide the voice. Like,
I know, right?
The best part of that is that's where another anime. Everything in anime campaign is me making fun of Aram secretly. Because he's doing the Hasselhoff voices with his Aram impersonation, and one of my initial reactions was, "Sounds like you have a grape stuck."
Yeah,
in
this is Aram. That's just you with a grape stuck in your throat, and hence a character was born for anime campaign.
So Gladicia was in the first adventure?
Very briefly, yeah. She showed up while you guys were in jail. She showed up and was like, I don't give a shit about the other three of you. Annika, yeah, come with me and I can get you out of here. And Annika was like, nope. And she was like, all right, but I'm going to come back and next time I'm not going to ask.
I completely forgot about that.
So then this lady showed up and was like, hey, you guys did good in the tournament yesterday. I'm sorry, everyone in this town sucks. I can totally smuggle you out of town in my merchant caravan if you agree to come back to the town that I technically just live in, but effectively run. And maybe, at least hear me out on, like, a way you could work for me. And the party was like, yeah, you're, like, actually immediately helping us instead of being a dick to us for no reason, so sure. So, yeah.
It's a good way to start a plot hook.
Really quick, you know what we didn't mention?
Yeah.
What our party fucking is.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and describe it, Jello?
We're a theater troupe who is very rarely a theater troupe.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
man.
Yeah,
Hilda used to play the harp.
This wagon of theirs converts into a little stage.
I did not know that. That's really cool.
That's what we're here at Adventure 9 for. Because we were supposed to have a relaxing time.
I thought that was a weird cover. I thought you were a theater troupe like the TI group runs a bar.
I mean,
honestly, that's pretty
to some extent that's accurate because they very rarely actually do this, but it has come up several times and it came up more earlier in the campaign. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, that was basically the first adventure, and I'm not gonna spend as long on all of them, but that was like the first one. So the second adventure, the party came back to a town called Broadbridge, where Vivian Canmore has her business based.
You should play the music.
Ooh, yeah.
Tristram.
Yeah, I hope. It's video game music. It'll probably be fine. We probably.
Oh,
We
it's
run.
fine,
Do
don't
you have
worry.
any idea how much music we run in Ebon Ward and we got nothing?
Dude, JoJo is a copyright nightmare. Do play whatever you want.
Don't worry about it.
So this is
Forget about it.
the tone setting music that I use for Broadbridge. It's a city that used to be a really prominent trade city. Basically, there's a big kind of swampy lake with a huge bridge leading to a little island in the middle of it, north-south. There's like a north-south, or there's like a south bridge, island, north bridge, and you can use it to pass over this this little like swamp. And it used to be a really important trade route, but the bridges only stay up because of magic. And when magic went away, one of them immediately collapsed. So now it's an island that there's no reason to go to on a swamp. So it now is basically just like the Mos Eisley, the wretched hive of scum and villainy of this setting. Though it has been getting better and better with the party's influence, because they ended up kind of using this town as their main base ultimately. So Vivian is basically here as like a venture capitalist pumping tons of money into the city legitimately trying to revitalize it, if only to eventually make greater profits. Which I really wanted to kind of have. I wanted to give the party an employer because it's really useful to have when you're a low-level party for like directing the quest flow as a GM.
Yeah.
But and again, this is a reaction to a previous failure. In the Eberron game that lasted like 2 sessions, we were like, oh, it'll be fun. There'll be so much like cool political intrigue and stuff, and like they can't trust anyone. And so it started off, and in the first session, they met like 4 different people who were like, I may have a use for you, peons. And they were like, wow, I can't wait to work for you and get betrayed. And I was like,
Little did your players know that's just how you voice every.
Yeah. And I was like, fair point. Why would the party want to work for any of these obviously untrustworthy people who have done nothing to earn any measure of like going out on a limb for them? Yeah. So I kind of engineered this situation in the first adventure to be like, you know what? I'm going to have this person immediately be nice to them in a town where lots of people might not be, and help them before asking for anything in return. So that even if they give off untrustworthy vibes, like, at least there's a reason for the players to play along.
Nice to your players. It actually works.
Yeah.
What?
So, they go back to this city where there's weird shit going on with the water, that turns out to be because there is a nereid, a mermaid-like creature, that was imprisoned under the city and recently freed by 2 stupid guys trying to dig a tunnel somewhere. And I was like, I want to do an adventure where the bad guy is not a bad guy, and where I can also work in something I wanted to do with this setting. Another reaction. In my previous setting, magic was very, very scientific. It was almost perfectly well understood. There was like a world-spanning organization that like monitored its use and stuff. And I was like, I want to do the opposite. So there's a lot less magic, and what magic there is more fairy tale-ish. There's a lot more like spells kind of work based off of like meaning, and curses are like elaborate, and there might be like Rumpelstiltskin-esque creatures who like gain power over them by knowing their name and shit. And I think I've only had mixed success presenting that view of magic, but it was one of my goals. And so in this adventure, I was like, I want there to just be an ancient, like, inherently magical creature. And I also want to make them not actually a bad guy. So the nereid in this adventure, who, if you want to see what she looks like, she is just what's the character's
Nami?
name? She is just Nami from League of Legends.
Yeah,
This was her icon.
say Nami, and I picture One Piece.
One Piece Nami.
No.
Yeah.
Oh!
Here's a nice big one. So she's living under the city, and she's really scared of people because people in the past basically like used her for her ability and like enslaved her, and then stuffed her in this prison underground to basically keep her from going anywhere while they were doing something else, and never came back. So she's been stuck underground for decades. And she doesn't want revenge. She just wants to be able to go back to the surface without being afraid of getting like enslaved and tortured again. And so she's using her magic to basically slowly enthrall the whole city, and so that no one will want to hurt her. Let's see. They went to a couple places. They went down here underneath the city. This city had one of those classic like elaborate sewers. So they went in there, and then they eventually went to the dungeon of this place. I can also find the music for that. That's what did I use for that? It was a WoW dungeon. Yeah, this is the music for this place. So
this adventure had my favorite unintentional plot twist.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can't talk about this adventure without talking about that. Okay, so hang on. Back up slightly.
Just open the big can of worms.
I mentioned it there before. I was like, is it possible Aram won't lead with this?
I totally forgot until you brought it up. Yeah. So when the party got to this city, already a bunch of people had been like charmed by her, including the two guys who originally accidentally tunneled into her dungeon and freed her, because they were the first that she enthralled. And basically, she's been having them kidnap people and bring them underneath the city to where they can hear her voice and be charmed by her. And so that's been going on for a while, so lots of people are acting weird by the time they get to town. And they meet one of these two guys in the inn they stop in before they even go and talk to Vivian. And he's like, hey, I think I found some treasure underneath the city. I just need some help digging it up. Are you interested? And the party's like, well, you're obviously like drunk, crazy, stupid, or evil, so no, fuck off.
That sounds like a less far gone Ballast McGee.
You guys want a plot hook?
No. Well,
So you say that.
Okay, so it was funny because that wasn't even really meant to be a plot hook. Like, I didn't expect them to just be like, yeah, let's go, because he was obviously so shifty. And like, as soon as they revealed that they were like adventurers who actually had like weapons and stuff, he was like, oh, maybe I don't want to ask you, actually, never mind. So all I wanted out of that encounter was establish that this guy exists, and that he's probably been giving the same offer to various people, so that later it's like, who might have been, leading people under town? Oh fuck, it's probably that guy who, like, asked us to come to, like, the sewers with him. Except, the party was so suspicious of him that they didn't want to just let him leave either. So he's like, fuck you, I'm going home, whatever. Don't follow me, and leaves. And the party's like, oh, well, we're following him. So, so all 3 out of the 4 party members roll decent stealth checks. Demetrius does not. So the guy realizes Demetrius is following him, and it's like, hey, I thought I told you to buzz off. But he doesn't know the rest of the party is there. So he's like, so Demetrius is like, oh, yeah, no, I left the rest of them. I'm interested in coming. And he's like, I'm like, oh, geez, okay, I didn't expect this. Well, what would this guy do? I mean, I guess if it's only one of them, he'd probably try to go through with it. So he's like, all right, yeah, come with me. I'll show you where I found the thing that's, like, buried. So the rest of the party follows behind at a decent distance. And as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, like, kind of assumed this was just, like, a plot hook for a side quest, right?
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
or less.
So the rest of the party's following, and he goes into the sewers with Demetrius, and the party's like, all right, we're gonna wait like 2 minutes so that we don't like immediately run into them, and then we'll go down after them. And so he takes Demetrius down, and I private message Keen, and I'm like, hey, make a will save. And he doesn't roll high, so I'm like, oh fuck, okay. So I send Keen a little private message that's like, hey, so you hear a very pleasant and familiar voice, like an old friend calling to you when you go down into this tunnel. You have been charmed. You know that you remember, like, you have a friend who lives down here, and she wants you to bring more people to be friends with her, but you can't tell anyone about her, because, like, they might harm her. So then, from the rest of the party's perspective, what happens is they go down, and the party's like, alright, we're going in after them. And as soon as they do, they encounter them coming back the other way, and they're both like, yes, we found the treasure already. Haha, we have explored it all. There is no need to go further. And they didn't say it that woodenly, of course, but like that's basically what they said. And the party's like, okay. He just that's like
What it was is like they came back and Demetrius were just like, what was that guy's deal? Fucking nothing. Like nothing to note at all. Just a guy. Just a weird guy.
Just a weird dude.
Yeah, don't go into the basement. But like he honestly pulled it off, so we're like, all right, that's boring. I guess that's unrelated to whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So Demetrius was just a sleeper agent.
Oh my God.
Adventure.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Holy
great.
shit.
I remember you wrote in the notes for it, you wrote like, they come back and the guy is really angry that we followed him when he like told us not to and like leaves angrily, muttering angrily. So fuck that guy and his side quest, I guess.
Oops.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, so some weird shit happens, and at one point a mob tries to drag Vivi. Oh, okay, there's another character who's introduced here also, another recurring character, who has custom art, which is Vivian's bodyguard, whose name is Katrine. Who kind of in this adventure, her point was to be there as a red herring because she's very unfriendly to the party. And is like obviously connected to Vivian. But no, yeah, she's just there's not really anything more to her, at least as far as the party knows in present time. So yeah, she's around, and angry mob of controlled people tries to kidnap Vivian and take her down to get charmed. And the party manages to like fight them off and escape with her. So at this point, everyone gets together and is like, all right, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's obvious that something weird is happening underground, so let's go get them. The party also meets a comedy trio of bumbling thieves at one point, but they're not that important. They're not that important, but their nameplates were Goon and Goonette, so the party started calling them the G Unit.
Also, this was back when we rolled for hotness, and Goonette turned out to be fucking beautiful.
Yep, nat 20.
That Hilda was at the very least bi. Which
Bi,
was
yeah.
a long time running joke.
Yeah.
Since in Arimpaign, through no personal agenda of Aram's, every man is fucking incompetent.
Yeah. Almost all the men are incompetent. Almost none of the women are, is just how it worked out.
I can't think of a single woman who I've gone, man, she was not very helpful. But like literally every man I've encountered, I'm like, there was no man for Hilda. She was bi before. She's just a lesbian now.
So this is the dungeon from this adventure.
Oh boy, this dungeon.
This place, I like the design of this place.
Yeah, no, I like most of this dungeon. There's just one specific part of it that we have a dark memory of. I re-kitted Rook specifically to combat this boss that we had to fight. The secret mini boss.
Yeah. So this is a heavily vertical dungeon. There's basically 3 floors, and in every floor you start west and move east. and the gimmick is the lower floors are flooded initially, and none of the party, even Annika can't breathe underwater, I don't think, so, like, none of the party can deal with that, because they're low-level adventurers, so they have to do my puzzles, haha. And the puzzles are basically, you do the puzzle on that floor, and it lowers the water. And it has a secondary theme of music, because this Nereid is a singer. So you'll notice that, like, the second floor, these weird shaped hallways are shaped like a treble clef and a bass clef.
Oh, whoa.
And the other little gimmick in this dungeon is that the water on the first floor is, like, bright and like shallow, tropical looking. The middle floor is like normal, like sea blue, and then the lower floor is like Mariana Trench, almost black, like volcanic, dark blue water.
Yeah.
I remember I distinctly remember a really specific puzzle that I thought was extremely cool on the first floor, where we basically had to like make a miniature cloud and make it rain.
Yeah, that's this here. You had to, like, it's basically how do you get the water from one to the other, and it's like you boil it and it condenses and then rains in the other one.
Oh, cool.
I felt really proud when we figured that out. That was a good puzzle.
That was a cool puzzle.
And then the last floor doesn't have a puzzle per se, but it has this hilarious gauntlet room where the water is constantly flowing against the party. There are a few platforms you can stand on. It's basically ripped off of that one room from the water temple in Ocarina of Time, where it's a current river with a bunch of little platforms you have to jump between. So it's mostly just a physical gauntlet, but also these fucking these spiny sea urchins keep spawning and flowing down, and if you bump into them, you take damage.
This hallway sucked for a character that is...
This hallway was so bad for most of us.
This hallway was rough for me because I'm in armor, so I don't have a swim check, and I only have 20 movement speed. This was a bad time for Hilda.
Rook can't swim. Rook can't swim.
Yep. Oh, boy. And by the time we finally got to the end, we were like really pleasant, but by the time we got to the end of the hallway, we were like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill whoever's on the other side of this room.
And we burst in, and there's two charmed children in the boss room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The party was also trying to rescue some guy's kids that had gone missing down here. When they find them here, because they wandered in and she accidentally charmed them, and they won't leave, and she doesn't know what to do with them, so she has them like fenced off in here. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
And one of what eventually I think became an extremely actually a lot of shit that went down in this room had really long lasting consequences. Is a grave word, but like a fuck ton of what became Rook's most like desired things were born in this room. Which is the two kids are there. Someone like tried and like either everyone else was busy or everyone else failed their diplomacy checks to get these kids to like overdo the charm. And Rook rolled like a nat 27 on diplomacying them, which we called Rook dressed as Mary Poppins .gif.
Yeah.
And Rook ended up becoming a hero for these kids. We also did a play in this arc. Where he was a villain named Baron Bandersnatch, and these kids were like, "Who are you?" "I'm Baron Bandersnatch." And like now, ever since then, there has been a growing fan club of children in Broadbridge for Baron Bandersnatch, and I don't remember their name, but they're like, it's like Baron Bandersnatch's goons or something, and they run around fighting crime. It's the best.
Yeah.
It was also great because, like, when we got into this room, we were all really steamed, so they
get to this door, and Lyra's just like, "Please go away," because she doesn't want to fight them. And yeah, will deliver your immortal line.
Yeah, and so one thing that I do with Hilda is that I write a journal, because it's Hilda's journal. It's very important to her, and she writes the adventure notes. And in her journal, it just says, then we meet this weird fish woman, and she's like, I don't want to fight. Yeah, whatever, lady. Here come the punches.
That was for her.
There are so many immortal lines in that journal. That is a really good document.
Yeah, so this basically is like a quasi potential combat but more social encounter, because basically this boss doesn't want to fight them. And they theoretically don't need to fight her. They just need to just stop doing what she's been doing. The problem is the kids won't leave voluntarily. Like, she doesn't have good enough control of her powers to actually break her charm over anyone. So it's like, well, if we want to get the kids, either she has to either break the charm herself, or we have to kill her to like sever all of her magic. And so what the party ended up doing was, first of all, they decided not to just kill her. And second, they were like, she gave a little bit of her backstory and was like, I just can't, like, I'm too afraid of surfacers. I can't bring myself to break the enchantment on any of them because I think they'll hurt me. And so the party was like, here, we'll put a hat on you and smuggle you up to the surface and let you be in a play with us so that you can get over your agoraphobia.
Oh my god, I forgot that's how we solved this adventure.
Great.
We're stupid.
No,
This was basically, this was Windrose before Windrose.
What the fuck? That's so good.
I forgot she was in the play.
Yeah, no, she played one of the two princesses, and
Oh my god.
you were Baron Bandersnatch, the bad guy, and I played.
So I love the mechanic. Sorry to interrupt you. I love the mechanic of these plays because it was just basically everyone gets 3 roles and there's 3 acts and there's like a skeleton play. It's basically Commedia dell'arte instead of a play where like in universe it's written but we're making it up, and it's like, here is the plot, and then everyone's like, I would like to, there's a part where it's like, I, Baron Bandersnatch, the evil villain, will sneak and I'm going to betray the hero by pretending I'm their friend. So then I will make a roll. And I rolled the shittiest disguise check, and Hilda was playing the prince. And she was just like, what ho, friend? Time for my sense motive check. And you rolled a nat 1, and it just ended up being a buddy adventure where Baron Bandersnatch straight up stopped being the villain.
Don't you remember your disguise? You were like, it's time to put on my
human nose at the end of my bird.
Yeah.
And Hilda's like, nothing wrong here. What
Looks
up?
legit.
Yeah, but you make a I would love. It's been so long since we've gotten to do one, actually. I love the Arimpaign plays of 3 acts, 3 roles, make up a play. It's really fun.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Something
That
else
was
that's
so funny.
adventure specific I forgot to show. Back in the day, Jello drew little book covers that were basically like, this is Rook's book about this adventure. So here's the one for Adventure 1.
Yeah, I sure never did. Oh, you know what? Let me look if I have the unfinished one for Adventure 3.
Yeah.
And then here's the one for Adventure 2.
Just so you know, a lot of these are being cropped in the window photo viewer.
Are they? Let me see.
Yeah, it's weird. You had them like perfectly positioned
Oh.
for like a cool thing when it's a character icon, because it looks like they're popping up bottom right and it's going to be their profile screen or something. But
Is that
they
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
give it a second. We're behind you.
OBS be doing the thing.
Oh,
Still a
okay.
little-
There we go.
Good enough.
Still a little small.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Demetrius has
that
the
should work.
secret glowy eye.
yeah, because of his wing control.
Demons.
Yeah, no, these were really cool.
Yeah, Annika.
Oh,
played the little tank here.
I never noticed the little Hilda and Rook in
Yeah.
the water. I never noticed that. That's great.
Oh, I forgot about that actually.
Oh god, Chad is spamming Sans. I never even thought of that.
Sans! Sans!
Oh
Sans!
no.
I didn't want to say it.
Jello,
I'm
I have to
sorry.
delete this file.
No, this predates Undertale by like 4 years.
We should sue Toby Fox.
Well, this isn't right, but here's an old sketch of Sophia I didn't finish.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Some text. Oh, okay, cool. I do have the one for Adventure 3. Here, I will. It's unfinished. Wow, this. Shit, I should have finished this. This looks fucking awesome.
Oh, look at this rascal.
While you're pulling that up, So that was basically Adventure 2. They got the super happy ending because they just got Lyra to overcome her fears and break the enchantment
Jello,
herself.
look at that.
And they became friends.
Red.
Oh shit.
I like the hand of God that's about to slap me.
Yeah, you'll see what that is.
Yeah. Oh man, I loved Adventure 3, and I not even because it was a Hilda focused adventure. I just really liked it. We got a big dungeon.
Yeah.
We got oh man, it was fun.
Well, we're about to get there. That's probably the last one we'll do because I don't want to run too long. And hopefully we can do a part 2 to cover the rest of them at a later time. So yeah, that was basically Adventure 2. They got the mega happy ending. They made friends with Lyra. She has continued to befriend the party and has come back several times, albeit only once in like a plot relevant way.
She's pretty much our like estranged daughter we've adopted, and we come home from our long distance overseas adventures and give her a new hat every time.
Yeah, yeah, because she was wearing this helmet that actually like pulled up some of her scales, and she was kind of self-conscious about it. So Hilda was like, "I bought you a sun hat. I hope this helps," and just like plopped it on her head. And now every time we come back from an adventure, we each have a new hat for her. Lyra's a good being. Every time we come back, we're like, we almost killed her. We were so
we sure did. Also, really quick, I wanted to mention this will become more and more evident in future storytime installations, I guess, where you get to learn about all the cool mechanics Aram does, because like these adventures were done in like month, and like the current one we're on has been like
in terms of real world time, we started planning in summer of 2014. We started playing in I think October of 2014. This adventure was finished in very early 2015, like January, February at the absolute latest. And we were only breaking for like 2-ish weeks between adventures at this time. And each one was like 5 sessions-ish. So keep that in mind, because those numbers will become hilarious later on.
But what I was going to say is one of my favorite things, I stole this for Anime Campaign, and I think every DM should steal this, is Aram gives us boss fight achievements. And sometimes now, adventure long achievements that are hidden until you unlock them, except some of the boss achievements, which, like Flint Claws, I don't remember, but it's stuff like never get hit by his cannon, and then you get a permanent reward for like really niche stuff. So we have like, I think all of the party has like a +2 to specific deck saves to not catch on fire.
Yep. I wish. Oh, you can't resize the text in this apparently.
So
that kind of
I'm gonna be honest. Watching Aram run his game and do those boss fight achievements is part of the reason that Windrose works the way it works. Where it's like, hey, I get a permanent like ability to reflect my achievement in a boss fight. So yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Yeah, in 2014, I had only recently stopped playing World of Warcraft. I was actually still playing it at the very start of the campaign, and I turned out I did not like Warlords of Draenor, so I stopped forever. But yeah, no, I've always liked that about WoW, and usually my boss fights are based on Pathfinder rules, but often have extra mechanics added on top of them, and so it's not very hard to come up with achievements that are WoW style. So like, yeah, defeat King Flintclaw without getting hit by his cannon, defeat him after setting him on fire. This adventure didn't really have them because it was just, yeah, I gave one for getting the mega happy ending, but her boss fight didn't happen, so I didn't have any here.
Real quick, interesting thing. So I decided to look in the Hilda Journal to see how long it took for these adventures. We starting from Adventure 1, it was like late October. We ended Adventure 4 on June 17th.
Okay, so the first 4 adventures
in a year.
We're less than a year. That's 9 months. Less than.
Yeah, you've banged these out fast.
Yeah.
The break between adventures 8 and 9 was longer than 4 adventures.
Quality. Because the other thing you got to keep in mind is, as you've probably intuited, you've only heard about 2 so far, but both of these adventures are like close-ish to things you could find in like D&D modules. They're both go to town has problem, solve problem involving dungeons and monsters.
It was also very theater of the mind, and the
Very
only
heavy
maps that
theater of the
existed were
mind.
for dungeons.
Yeah, you've noticed this is
Production value was minimal.
these are basically the only maps in this entire adventure. You saw basically all the maps from Adventure 1. The map where they fought the Raven Man was literally a rectangle. So yes, production value very low in comparison.
The big thing, and if you listen to Tip of the Tongue, I tried to suck Aram's dick in terms of design as much as I could, since no one. I'm glad we're doing this because I finally get to have evidence for it. But the first like 3 adventures are pretty straightforward. Here's a D&D adventure, and then 4 is like a little more like point and click mystery adventure, and then 5 goes back to normal again, and then 6, 7, and 8 are like, it was just like, I like this type of video game. How can I one-to-one translate an entire unique system
into Pathfinder?
This will take me anywhere from 3 to 12 months to set up, and then anywhere from 5 to 2 years to play.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's see. So yeah, that's it for Adventure 2. And yeah, I think we have just enough time. We'll talk about 3 and we'll call it there. Is that all right with you, Jay?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And is that all right? Does anyone have an issue? Okay. So basically they saved Broadbridge. Vivian gave them a big fat reward, although not as big as fat as later ones they would get from her. And basically said, hey, thanks for doing that shit, which I didn't even know was a problem at the time I hired you. What I actually hired you for is I'm trying to like totally fuck over all of Hollingstar's operations in this area. And I know that you have a beef with them as well, at least some of you do. So I'm trying to keep the fact that you're working for me a secret, so I kind of want to put you out of sight in case I have any leaks here until I'm ready to make my move. So why don't you, if you have anything else you need to do, why don't you go do it now and come back in like a couple weeks. And this was basically just my way as a GM of saying, hey, I know you got a plot hook in the first adventure. Hilda talked to this guy for like 2 seconds, and their meeting got broken up, but basically he was there to give her information about her kidnapped sister. All he left behind was a ring with a family signet on it that she recognized from her hometown. And so this was basically me being like, hey, go do that before as the next adventure. The Hat Man asked, did Demetrius fight the party in the Lyra encounter? No, what ended up happening was they got down here, and Demetrius, because he was only charmed, he wasn't dominated, so it's not like she could control him, and she didn't want to hurt the party either. So the way I remember it is, as the party got near the end of this dungeon, he was kind of hoping that they would have to give up, and they hadn't. And so I think he was like, hey, maybe we should like just leave or whatever, and started being like very obviously kind of shifty about it. And that the party was able to do something to give him a new will save, which he passed, I think? I don't remember exactly.
He broke out of it the door before Lyra, and then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, here's what was going down. And we're like, what?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Annika's like, I'm going in here now. We're like, Annika, something important is happening. She's like, I don't care. And she walked away.
That happened.
Annika does that a lot.
We're finally going where I want to go. Oh, that's
Raven Man giving epic speech. Who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Why?
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
There was a Annika walking around in Adventure 7 cutscene to the extent that I'm pretty sure Rook just threw her in a cocoon and locked her in it.
You sure did, because it was like Hilda's big moment of confronting this big bad, and Annika's like, I'm gonna see how many snot bubbles I can make in front of you. And it's like, what are you doing?
So, for Adventure 3, the party went back to Hilda's hometown, which is called Radiant Point. I will play the BGM for that.
Now, was this custom as well?
No, this is from Tales of the Abyss.
Oh, okay.
So, Radiant Point is a much nicer city. It's all white and bright and has lots of tall buildings and spires. But Hilda does not enjoy it because her family life sucks. So this adventure basically consisted of party goes back to this city, has the most awkward fucking breakfast in the universe with her extremely disappointed father. Discovers her father's basically like, oh, did you save your sister yet? Probably not, since you don't have magic, you dumb bitch. And
Brooke was at that breakfast just sitting and eating a donut in between them like, weather, right?
yeah.
Oh my
Holy
god.
shit.
It was so funny because like I made it clear to Aram, I was like, hey, Traben and Hilda do not get along, but it's like kind of undertoned. But then as we started to RP, they were more like visual.
They were
with how
just
much
like
they hate
very
each other.
blatantly do not like each other.
Oh, it was so funny.
I never commissioned him because he hasn't shown up in person again since then. But her dad looks like, do I have, yeah. Her dad looks like this.
I mean, you can also grab the icons from your log in Roll20.
I don't actually have icons for all of them. Some of them I never uploaded because I haven't actually had to use them on a map.
I'm pretty sure you have one for Traben.
I have his old one. This is actually not what he looked like in this adventure, but this is what he would look like if he ever showed up again. And if I didn't commission him. So yeah, her dad's a dick.
What was that Hilda line where she's just like, you're just mad because you're never gonna get to go back to your little tree?
Mad because bad.
Yeah, so the big thing is that the elves, something horrible happened to this big tree city that the elves lived in for a while, and most of the elves just kind of went poof, like gone. And Traben's one of the last remaining elves for this powerful family, the Felmadrins, which were known for their magic and whatnot. And he is obsessed with his children developing magic to see if they can fix what happened with Caelirian, which is the elven city. And Hilda just got super steamed with him at one point, was like, the only reason you had us was so we could fix your treehouse. And he was like, you bitch.
Yeah, he has too much class to ever say you
He was
bitch.
like, you right.
He basically was like, get out of my house. Like, everything short of you're not my daughter. So yeah, the party had a super awkward time meeting him. Meanwhile,
broke into their house and was wandering around as a fucking stranger for no reason at all. And maybe just like came upon her like, what is this little imp doing in my home?
Yeah.
Who's this little man?
Who is this ragamuffin? So they also meet Hilda's brother, who is even more estranged from the family than she is, because whereas she's just the disappointment child because she wasn't able to use magic, he learned magic and decided to leave because he hated his life so much there. And so he's basically, her father like cut him out of the family. He's like excommunicated. He's not welcome at the house. So he shows up, he's in town, and they happen upon him, and it's like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm investigating a kidnapping, believe it or not. And Hilda is like, oh, like our sister's kidnapping? And he's like, our sister's what? And it's like, oh my god, Dad never even fucking told him.
Yeah.
So they go right back and fucking have an even more awkward conversation.
Oh my god, you guys.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great just natural RP thing because it was just like a casual conversation and then it just naturally was brought up.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I admire your ability to just be like, hey, I want to RP out an uncomfy family situation and then keep going and come back with an even more uncomfy
So to put in
situation.
perspective how petty Hilda and Traben are to one another, when they were having breakfast with one another,
This is your brother.
Rook and Annika finally bailed. They're like, nope, I can't be here anymore. And it was like, fair. And Hilda was like, I need you to look at this ring for me. And he's like, can you show it to me? And she throws it so it lands in his teacup and splashes tea on him. He's like, that's fine. And he examines the tea or the ring. And he's like, I know what this is, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm a total bitch. And Hilda's like, all right, this conversation's over. So you know what, like when you push the table, you push the chair back and you get out. She instead pushed the table at him and like pushed him and like knocked more of the tea over and was like, I guess I'll be going now. And he's like, you bitch.
Yeah. Well, also another thing that happened in that conversation was, so he's like, I've already dispatched like my agents to retrieve Lilium. You're not going to accomplish anything. You don't need to be doing any of this. And Hilda's like, fuck you, old man. And Hilda's like, hey, we got this new information. And he's like, oh, show me the ring. And he basically he said something that implied, if you give me your information, I'll give you mine. Right. And they did, and then he didn't give them his information.
Wow.
And that's why Hilda did the table thing. She was like, I'm so done with you.
Come to think back on it, I think that was the first moment that Rook was like, Rook can't handle serious, like there's a flavor of it's weird. There's like certain situations where it's like not to tip the hat a little too early, but there's a little bit of time travel in the current adventure and like a lot of complicated bullshit, and every time the other party members like have to talk to an NPC about it, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, listen, we're going through some stuff, and Rook will be like, we're time traveling and it sucks, and here's exactly what's going on, and I don't give a shit if anyone knows, and like that stuff he doesn't care about. But if it's like, hey man, I'm going through a rough stretch. Oh, cursory pleasantries that I hope you feel better. I have a really strained relationship with a family member. My wife is cheating on me. I don't know what to say, and I don't want to be here.
And unfortunately, Hilda's the one that's always ready to step up, but she sure has an 8 in charisma.
Oh.
Yeah, so they have these terrible encounters with the family situation. It turns out what her brother is actually in town investigating is the kidnapping of some of his fellow students at the academy he's at, all of whom were necromancers, just like Hilda's sister. And so it's like, pattern maybe? So they start kind of investigating together. And basically, he's there with his friend. He's like, he's like his friend, but he's like the friend you can tell no one in the group likes.
Do you have a picture of
that friend?
Yeah,
I do. So that's this guy. Yeah, hang on. Let me see if I can find a bigger one. I remember what character I got this from. So I can find like the actual correct picture of him. Yeah, okay. Here's the art that this is ripped from. So yeah, stupid Frosted Tips guy, who's her brother's companion. And so while they're in the city, it turns out there's also weird shit going on because a demon that feeds on people's fear gets summoned. And as it turns out, it was summoned by this guy, this wizard friend. And he basically is like a jealous guy who's like always the worst out of all of them at doing magic.
Man, this adventure
looks
is
at that
really...
character portrait, eyes emoji.
Yeah.
There's this entire setup for this adventure. I don't know if you were planning this far ahead or you just retroactively were like, I'll just make this work in the lore of this universe, but it makes a lot of sense retrospectively with how demons apparently work.
I will say that particular thing, actually 100% planned.
Cool.
So, yeah, the lore developed for Adventure 3 actually features heavily in Adventure 9. So he summoned a demon to basically try to get more power and become respectable and get the respect of his peers that he felt that he lacked. So while the party is trying to find clues on these necromancers who disappeared, the demon goes and ends up looking for the same things because this guy whose name is Zakin basically is like, I wanna be as good as they were at necromancy. So it's like, well, I know who has their spell books. They were kidnapped, and their spell books eventually got sold off to this smuggling ring. So the party goes to their warehouse looking for clues.
Oh boy,
and
do we.
gets there just in time for the demon to also show up and set fear fire everywhere and get everyone to start killing each other. But I'm getting slightly ahead of myself because in the course of infiltrating this you know what? Why don't you guys set the scene and tell the story?
I feel like this is a Jello thing.
All right. So we mentioned Hilda's tendency to headbutt people she was mad at. There are 2 times in the series that Rook, like, a little Jello, but especially Rook in universe, got mad at other party members. And the first one was during a stupid cantrip mix-up in the second adventure, and which I won't go into for time's sake. And the big one was in this adventure, where we basically walked up to a guy who was just like, hey, you work for this like trading company who's like the bad guys we need to infiltrate, right? Yeah, maybe I do. What about it? Why don't you answer me? Or whatever. All right, you give me like 50 gold and I'll do it. No, answer me. Fucking no, give me 50 gold. Okay. And Hilda just assaulted this man with her face on the street. And Rook was just like, what the actual fuck are you doing? And he was just like, all right, well, Jesus Christ. And he like walks around a corner and like, I don't remember. He like broke into the hut he was guarding. And he was just like, all right, was that so hard? So we walked down the street to this warehouse and Aaron's like, all right, yeah, there's a big main gate. And then there's a, just so happens there's here's like another entrance in an alleyway.
Yeah, here are your like 3 Dishonored gameplay paths you can take to get into this warehouse, is basically how I laid it out.
And Annika and Demetrius see the 2 guys at the gate, and they're like, I know how we'll get through here. I'm going to cast Murderous Intent, or whatever it's called, on one of the guys so he kills the other one. Oh, and I'm going to cast Unnatural Lust on the other one, because it'll be funny.
I thought it would be fun.
So Annika does that, and the one guy just turns and murders his friend in cold blood. The spell wears off. He looks down at his friend he just murdered, has a crisis, and runs inside, basically crying. Other people come out and go, hey, that little scary Undine girl just cast or Undine girl just cast that spell. So Annika runs away. And Rook goes, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm gonna do this myself. And Rook just single-handedly kind of walked away and infiltrated the building. And later, everyone else, like, sad puppy dog catches up, and they're like, how's it going, Rook? He's just like, oh, it's going fine. It's going great. I haven't killed a single person. And then he was disguised as basically Firo Prochanezo, because you can't just walk around as a bird person. You're too conspicuous. And everyone comes in, and it's just like, all right, look, there's a door behind us. I will distract people with a story about how good of a crime I did. Now you need to open that door, fighter. And Hilda rolled about 5 failed strength checks to open a door, while Rook, I love how Aaron played this, because like I just kept RPing stories, and Rook did too well. So he attracted too much attention. It's like, hey, check out the new guy. He's really cool. I'm like, haha, maybe check out something else. Well, like, all right, fine. You know what? Here, Hilda, tag out. You tell a story. Okay. Rook walks over, rolls an amazing strength check with his terrible modifier, and opens the door in one try and just looks at Hilda. What the fuck? I'm sorry.
Man, I was so mad. I could not roll over a 4 that entire session. And my only defense for Hilda headbutting that guy was that was like not even an hour after her big argument with Traben, and she was so goddamn mad. So this guy who was also like, I'm not gonna tell you anything. She's like, that's it, people die.
In fairness, Rook getting so upset at that, I think actually everyone in the party was like, I guess we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's actually like the closest to murder hobo antics the party ever got up to, and it really never happened again. So, you know, in the end, I think I would say a valuable lesson was learned.
I did not kill that man.
No, you did not. That guy
You did not
survived.
kill
You dumped him in
anyone.
an alley. The reason the party was here, actually, was because they, using the ring as a clue, they kind of went asking around town and found out, people were like, oh yeah, that's the symbol of this cursed as shit family where all of them fucking die all the time.
Great.
So they found like one living guy who was like a carpenter and asked him, he's like, yeah, I the only other people around from my family are like, I have this like this young cousin who was living with like his uncle after his parents died, so you can try there. They go to the uncle's house. The uncle's dead. Not from like murder or anything. I actually don't remember how he died, but it was just bad luck, curse shit. And they find like his diary that's like, my nephew Simon is being a dick and like won't bond with me just because his parents died or whatever. And I know he's been running with those downtown smugglers who are no good or whatever. So that's why the party was here. So they save this fat guy who they can never remember his name, and so they just start calling him Captain McDonald's.
Captain McMuffin.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Captain McMuffin. They save Captain McMuffin from the demon who was there to get the necromancer spell books, and they defeat this weird evil undead thing that the demon conjures, and they save him and they get information from him. He's like, yeah, no, I only know a little bit about what his plans were, but I think he went to his family tomb that's just outside of town. So the whole party, including Hilda's brother and Zakin, decide to go and check this place out. And unlike your standard D&D tomb, this is not normally a wacky, trap-filled, undead tomb. This is just like a normal-ass like tomb with normal-ass people buried there. And so everything would have been fine, except this motherfucker and the demon that he summoned is like working in the background. And so they go, and he's like, hey, now that I've got these spell books, you guys, I want to show you something super fucking lit. Like you're definitely all gonna see how powerful of a wizard I am now with like the power that I've just gained. So he's like, I'm gonna cast this spell and like raise the entire tomb as like my servants. It'll be awesome. And he does, except like he succeeds at raising the whole tomb, but because he sucks, he's not really in control of any of them. And the tomb, he also reactivates all the tomb's magical defenses, so like it seals off, and so now it's like an actual dungeon. Leads to a great line where like he does this. He does this at the beginning of the dungeon instead of at the end, which the Jello at least was appreciative of. Where he gets up and is like, now I'll show you my true power. And then fucking Annika shouts like, I hope your minions turn on you. And he's not like a super bad guy. He's just a fucking idiot. And so I'm like, you know, he kind of like shrinks back a little, and you get the feeling that like actually really hurt his feelings.
I love that Zakin is exactly like stupid wizard whose journals, like a dead wizard whose journals you'd find in a Skyrim dungeon.
Yeah.
He ends up joining your party. I also love it was like a tomb of like two warring lineages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fighting
Yeah.
each other.
This is
I
the
love
last
this
this is the
dungeon.
last map we'll look at. And yeah, no, this is in my opinion a pretty good dungeon again.
It's pretty fucking cool.
I loved this dungeon so much.
This was
yeah,
also
the
my
opening-
opportunity to lore dump stuff for the setting. So yeah, this tomb is now just used for random schmucks. Like various families have burial sites here, but originally it was built for two specific families who had a massive battle at one point in the war, and tons of them on both sides died, and they wanted to honor both sides, so they built a tomb with two wings, one for one family, one for the other. But equally sized and equally grand. So they enter here. This little fucking balcony where he's like, I'm the best! Wario.wave. And then they get in here after he does his spell. He does his spell, by the way, and then the demon is like, hey, by the way, you're probably gonna die in here, and once you die, I'm free to do whatever I want. Haha, good luck, fuckers. So the demon he summoned is basically the villain of this little adventure. That and family drama as the other villain of this adventure. So basically the gimmick of this dungeon is here, like where they're trying to get is here. This has the only remaining open exit to the tomb. And this big hallway, oh shit, I don't think I moved the players. Oh no, okay, I did.
No, you did. We're good.
So this big hallway here is totally blocked up with the ghosts of all of the people of these two families who were laid to rest here, basically playing out their last battle and killing each other over and over. And so there's a constant melee and like spells being thrown back and forth, so it is like not possible to cross here while this is going on. So it's like, okay, so we need to, the hook of this dungeon is we need to get these guys to stop this shit so that we can pass through. So at the end of each of these wings, there's the one family off to the side here, and then the other family off to the other side. At the end of each of these wings, the leader of the troops in this battle is laid to rest, and they each have a ceremonial weapon. So if you have the ceremonial weapon, that side's spirits will recognize you as their leader and stand down. So you have to do both sides in order to clear the middle, and then you can go through to the boss room, is basically what this works out to, gimmick-wise. But you can do them in either order. So it's like mostly linear. Each individual part is linear, but it's got a little bit of freedom. So this is pretty much a standard, with all the magic stuff reactivated, this is a pretty stock standard D&D spooky tomb with dumb puzzles and stuff. But it was pretty fun, I would say.
There was also the strongest and scariest enemy in the entire game secretly in this dungeon, which I have an illustration for if you want it.
Okay, so let me show you. This is actually, I guess I left these tokens here. These are like the random mobs that I would copy into rooms. Yeah, these lantern specters, not very strong on paper, but they were the first enemy the party had encountered that had more than one attack on a full attack. They only got one normally, but they got 3 attacks on a full attack. And the party happened to fight them in an awkward situation where they couldn't move very much. And they hadn't really dealt with how full attacks worked before. So everything would have been fine, but you put those things together, and then these things rolled so many 20s, it was absurd.
I believe it was 5 crits.
It was something like 5 crits out of 7 attacks. So these guys just started decimating their assholes. It was insane.
It was so scary.
So when we get to the boss of this dungeon, there were like 3 like mini enemy types who like all spawned, and one of the achievements was like leave them alive long enough during the different phases of this boss fight that in the same 2 turns you can kill all 3 of them. And the moment that we saw that achievement, and it was like enemy A, enemy B, and lantern specters, and we went, nope, we can't 100% this game. We're not getting that achievement.
We're not leaving a lantern specter alive just for an achievement. I think it is Grez's spectral lantern. Yeah, actually. Yeah, I'm trying to. Do I have? Yeah, okay. I think you linked it in the chat, but here at big size is the Jello's illustration of what these things looked like. I kind of or no, actually, I think this is actually supposed to be the. No, okay, this is the lantern. Yeah, this is the lantern specter.
These are lanterns.
So yeah, those guys were scary as fuck apparently because they rolled like gods. So yeah, this also had a fun fight at the end of the fire wing of this place. There was a mummy.
This is one of the coolest fights in the entire campaign.
There was there was the mini boss at the end of this wing was a mummy spelt like Eldritch Knight. So yeah, he had a flaming sword and also cast spells. And his gimmick was like, there's a shit ton of fire everywhere, which should be bad because he's a mummy, but he has like a little protective charm on him, like a scroll that makes him immune to fire. So the party First of all, because I was like, yeah, he had a two-bladed flaming sword, and so the party was like, well, you gotta play Duel of the Fates. So this whole fight took place to Duel of the Fates.
Meanwhile, Jay is breaking in the back.
Yeah, and they did the sickest fucking combo ever, which was Hilda's brother, who's a pyromancer, cast a Burning Hand spell with a meta magic that basically makes it like stay in place and continue damaging its whole area for like an additional round. And he cast that on the guy who was at the time immune to fire, and then Rook did a sick trick shot from the background to destroy the protective charm, so the boss just suddenly fucking immolated and died.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was dope.
Yeah, it was really fucking cool. The other
This
side...
dungeon was-
Oh, go
well,
ahead.
just really quick on this side too, it was really funny because we were like, we'll go right first, and like 6 skeleton archers step up, and we're like, oh shit, this is gonna be scary. And Darius is like, I'll cast a fireball, and kills all of them instantly. And we're like, wow, Darius is really great. And the whole dungeon, he is kicking so much ass. And we got to the final boss, and he fucking sucked.
He shit the bed super hard in the final boss. Yeah, so the
so
party
hard.
is level 4.
He blew his wad a little early.
The party is level 4 in this adventure, and Hilda's brother Darius is a level 7 wizard, so he is substantially stronger. But only limited spells. So I kind of wanted to be like, here's an extra resource you can have, and he'll pretty much do what you ask him to do, so you can kind of choose when to spend it. Except in the last fight, when he'll try everything and fail at everything.
Yeah.
This, on the other side, had an equally memorable encounter. So yeah, this is one side of the dungeon. Behold, the polar opposite side.
Oh man, wait! Oh, look at all these secret rooms we never found.
Yeah, there were a couple.
Yeah.
So the party had to get past this little winding ledge in a room that was totally dark, and where you'd get like zapped if you tried to either bring fire or magical light. So there were these little, basically fireflies, that were native to the area, and the party had captured some in a jar. So that was like, or no, I'm sorry, the party had some in a jar at one point, but Rook ate
captured them in a jar because he eats bugs and also collects things in jars, but he didn't bring that jar of bugs in with him, but he had eaten some.
Yeah, so the party's like, well shit, how do we make light? And those bugs were intended to be the solution. So they were like, well, you know what to do, Rook. So Rook went around the corner and shit in a jar, and they used his glowing poop to see their way through this hallway.
You gotta do what you gotta fucking do
So that's
in this
the
economy.
context of that.
Yep, that's where the legendary glow poop was born.
I wish I could say born.
Yeah.
Because the fire, like, we were locked in the tomb. We no longer had access to living fireflies, only digested ones.
Oh my god.
I had to roll the poop, too. I failed my poop check.
Yeah, that's
Happens.
why this picture conveys a considerable amount of strain. Yeah, so basically the way this adventure ends, they get both things, they go through here, they get to the last room, Zakin, like, sees the exit and, like, kind of, like, reverse panics. He's, like, so happy to be alive that he runs ahead without thinking and gets fucking speared in, like, the neck with a trap and dies. And Darius runs forward and is like, does, like, the no, and, like, runs to, like, try to like, help him, and activates another trap, doesn't get speared through the neck, but does get speared through the hand. Which
is what the hand is on that drawing I did. I don't know if you showed that.
Yeah. That's why... Oh, yeah, I think it's in Discord. Yeah, that's why hole in hand. It's a visual metaphor. Haha.
It's symbolic.
So...
It's also why there's fireflies on there.
Yeah, so this is a problem also because it gives him a 50% failure chance when casting spells, and he failed like 5 rounds in a row. He almost did not contribute in this fight, which made it very hard.
Yeah.
So they fight the demon, and it's the first like straight up just this is a WoW boss fight. It has phases and stuff, and they beat it. Not much thanks to Darius. They escape the tomb alive, and Hilda gets the information she wants from the family burial plot of this family with the ring. She finds the journal of, as they later learn, the guy who was trying to meet her before, who ran off to join Vampire McGee, who is the bad guy, and who hasn't been seen since. So that's how the plot advances in this one. So yeah, this was kind of, because the first adventure had Rook's rival, and the second adventure, it didn't really work out this way, but it was kind of intended to be Annika. Because it had like some magic ritual stuff for her to do.
It ended up being a secret Demetrius adventure.
Yeah. This adventure was supposed to be Hilda and Demetrius, so it had the Hilda family stuff and overarching plot, and then the demon stuff that kind of related to Demetrius. The connection wasn't as obvious at the time, but it also...
I mean, he did the I want to eat thing at the end of this adventure.
Yes, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's the important thing for him, is that after they defeated the demon, it was about to disappear, and Demetrius, without intending to, like, opened up a creepy mouth in his hand and basically ate it. And no one knew that this had happened, including him, but I narrated that it had happened, and everyone was like, what the fuck? And that wasn't revisited for 4 years. It also was kind of his adventure, because he was kind of getting to know Zach, and so it was sad that he died.
Yeah. A couple other things that happened that were kind of important. The journal mentions that... who basically admits this, I was a part of the process of kidnapping Lilium. Totally mentions, like, I was stalking her for weeks.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
And the other thing that we completely forgot to mention, Hilda's mother, Sariona, who she adores, is
sick.
bedridden.
Yeah, she was sick.
Just super duper not doing well.
Yeah. She got better at the end of this adventure, but yeah, she was sick for most of it. So yeah, no, that's the first 3, and these all came out very, very quickly. And then starting a few adventures after this, you will see, as we get into the later maps in part 2, I guess, you will start to see Roll20 assets and
a higher budget,
a rapidly spiraling out of control budgetary crisis as I go bigger and bigger and take longer and longer with every passing adventure.
And it's literally always worth it, because there's always those, like, I can't wait to I don't even know if we're gonna do the one for 9 before we finish 9, but like there's moments for, like, especially 8 and 9, where it's just like, oh, we think we know what Aram's got up his sleeve for this adventure. This is really cool. All right, now that we are 7 adventures in and you have triggered plot events B and C, here, drops a book on us. I made all of this.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
As somebody who only showed up for 9, I'm super impressed.
Yeah, no.
Holy shit.
Adventure 9 might be straight up the most impressive adventure I've ever seen someone make.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's insanity. And anytime we do something wrong, I feel so bad. It's like, no, we're ruining it. He worked so hard.
Ruining everything.
So yeah, I think that's where we should leave it. Oh geez, 2.5 hours. Sorry for talking everyone's ears off.
I mean, that's what they signed.
I guess that's what you're. Yeah.
We somehow gained viewers the whole time. Shrug.
We did.
Oh my God, Lemieux versions of the Arimpaign party. What the?
I knew you'd be happy.
Holy shit.
Wait, let me.
Yep, Lemieux.
Is there a fan art like for this? I haven't been looking.
Oh no, yeah.
It's just in live fan art and stamina.
Yep. So I grabbed all of them, and it was all
Lemieux.
Honestly,
it's just
really
from Lemieux.
Oh boy. Okay, yeah. Let's go through these one at a time. Lemieux Annika. Yeah, that's the like angry eyebrows, cat smile is exactly Annika's personality.
That's the character.
Now we're going where I want to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quality Annika line from Adventure 3. She wants to go back to talk to Hilda's dad again for because there's some information she wants related to her stuff. And the party's like, no, we don't want to go back there. That place was terrible, and that guy's awful, and we shouldn't spend any more time there. They run to Hilda's brother, find out he doesn't know that the sister was kidnapped, so he storms off to go confront the dad. The party follows him, and Annika's reaction...
Hilda and Darius are both like, we're so actually mad. This is so serious. We're finally going where I want to go.
All the while she's eating ice cream because she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hang on. I think it's in the journal.
I can track it down.
Annika eating ice cream picture.
Yeah, I'll track it down
me if you could. Okay. Ooh, Hilda.
Cute.
And Rook. Rook looks like a 9-month-old child. something about his little like cheeks and the way his eyes are shaped.
That's a baby.
Makes him look very cherubic.
What would baby
here.
Rook sound like? I'm gonna go on an adventure. Oh yeah, we don't get there for a long time, but the first Tengu we finally meet is played by Jay, and it was decided in moment that how Tengu excitedly greet each other when they see each other as just
just start fucking screaming, dude.
And Demetrius, he looks very, very 70s, which is exactly how he should look.
Oh,
I like
beautiful.
that, like, because you can't see, like, that it's, you know, like a robe and then, like, a wizard robe and, like, a cloak. When all you can see is the collar, this just looks like Disco Stew's outfit.
Yay!
And then I got the Annika.
Oh yeah, this is an artist's rendition of that moment.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
No.
That's gross.
Rube and Weeb, and potentially also
We are here.
Roma, would you like to give a little promo for what you're going to talk about on the next
I got
episode
so
of
excited.
Story Time?
Real quick,
And
I do want to say that was really great to sit in and listen on all that. That was very nice.
Oh, thank you.
That was good.
I'm super happy to hear the origins of Arimpaign.
It just gets wilder, man. It just gets crazy.
Yeah, I guess we'll try and wrap this up a little bit so that we can get going.
Hit us with your shit.
Should I?
So I guess next time we'll be talking about First Century.
Which is me and Weeb's passion project that we work on together.
Yeah. It's very near and dear to our hearts, and we do a lot of like experimental like stuff that we wouldn't normally be able to do on stream.
Like puzzles, ARGs.
Yeah, it's really neat. I really enjoy working on some of those.
Also, don't shoot us in the head when you hear we have 10 players.
Yeah, we have 10 players, and somehow that works. And it is my favorite campaign that we have.
And the elevator pitch is: what if there was a world with superpowers, but it was a dystopian teen novel instead of something happy and upbeat?
Yeah. Like, what if everybody got? It's that premise of what if everybody in the world got superpowers, but they didn't use it for good.
Roma, stop flooding with our please.
I know. Listen, I'm only sending the 4.
So the setting is kind of like modernish sci-fi dystopia. I really enjoy it. As I said, there's like superpowers that we call gifts. The sun is gone. That's the thing. The sun is not there. Somebody just deleted that.
And you guys made your own system for this, right?
Oh yeah, we made our own system. But it's not.
It's not
like,
very
it's not anything
complex or
crazy.
anything.
Yeah, it still counts. Still counts.
It's very like RP focused. So the system and like the mechanics and everything isn't very important
Get down
as
here.
the RP.
There we go.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that next time, I guess.
Yeah.
So anybody who's
Sorry, I
interested.
should have been showing these during that, but I'm showing the art that you sent me,
Percy,
Roma.
thank you for the bits. Thank you so much.
Oh, one other thing I noticed, the Hatman asked in chat, like Jello mentioned that there was one last Rook disguise to show. We could show that now, but actually, that is the Rook disguise that was used in Adventure 4, which will be the first one we talk about next time, so I think it might be good to show in con. What do you think, Jello?
I'm sorry, which image? There's like 3 or 4 Rook things that you could have been talking about there.
I was thinking of the one, the man who was kicked in the nose, kicked in the face by a nose enlarging
horrifying
horse.
one. Yeah, I think that's a good teaser for people to come
actually,
back.
yeah, sure, that's a good idea. So first, let me show off this these actual nice things for a nice serious campaign of First Century real quick. These are just a few of the many pieces of art that Roma has done for First Century.
The choice picks.
And now, just to totally spike that glass of champagne with some nail polish remover, here in all his glory is the disguise that Rook used in Adventure 4.
Oh yes, Duke Endicott, probably the funniest Rook has ever been for the longest stretch of time. Jesus Christ!
He is terrifying.
He's not haunting because I'm afraid of things when I'm haunted. Instead, I just want to delete him.
Yeah. Fight or flight says that thing has to go.
The best part is that drawing came up a couple sessions into the game. So he'd already existed and people were like, all right, he's weird, whatever. And then he showed up and suddenly every NPC Aram played went from neutral to aggro.
Deserved.
He had a built-in taunt.
God, that's what. Okay.
That was the adventure where Rook took over as tank.
Yeah, kinda.
Actually, yeah, no, almost exactly. All right, so look forward to that. Don't know when that'll be, but someday we'll come back and do the second half of Arimpaign. Thank you so much for giving me this platform, Jay.
Fuck yeah, no, I'm happy because spoilers, I participate in this campaign and now I have a context for half the fucking shit I need to do. So thank you.
So I always say I'm happy that we don't stream Arimpaign just because it is every time we go back to playing it after having only played streamed games for a long time, it's immediately very relaxing to have a game where there's no outside stakes. We don't have to be entertaining to anyone except ourselves. So there is no chance we will ever begin streaming it or publishing it in any form. It's also not going to go on that much longer in Arimpaign time, so it'll wrap up by 2037. But it is very pleasant to get to show it off when it's been shrouded in mystery these many years, but for a few random sessions of Mistress of Twistress. So
just the most appropriate thing.
Yeah. Jay, thank you for having me on. And thank you to all the viewers who stuck around to just listen to me, I don't know, jack off my own creative work for 2.5 hours.
Thank you so much for sharing. Seriously, it's super. I love hearing it. I steal power from people being enthusiastic about the shit they love. So this is rocket fuel. Thank you. I'm really happy.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
No. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you,
I'm
everyone.
a bird. Have a good night.
See you
Toodles.
cutting stream.